been to concerts where the kiss cam, focuses on you, on a couple in the audience. Well, as soon as that camera hit him and they saw it, they were immediately trying to dodge and duck, and he was trying to duck under the seat. And so Chris Martin makes the comment. He's like, either those two are having an affair or they're very shy. Well, it turned out they were indeed having an affair. Big money. Both of them have big money. He's married. She's married. Both married to wealthy people. Both have huge amounts of money at stake. And I just wonder, I know it's not the first time it's ever happened in human history, but this is a $1 billion company. All right. And he got the bum's rush on Saturday as a result of this because of in my opinion, lots of things. They have a statement that they came out with, but the distraction. I mean, I've never even heard of this company. And it's not the space I live in. So I'm sure many people had. But the point is, now everyone knows who you are because your CEO is screwing around. Now, is he the only CEO in the world screwing around? Of course not. Of course not. But, it's just, what's heartbreaking to me is the people involved, the kids involved, spouses involved. I don't think she had kids. I think she had stepkids, whatever. And the lawyers are just drooling over this whole situation because there's nothing divorce lawyers like more than people who are furious with each other. And when you think about people like Jeff Bezos, when he got divorced from his ex-wife, Mackenzie, she had to be the classiest broad in the history of divorced wives because there was no scandal. It just got handled quietly. Boom. She said nothing. They weren't screaming at each other in public about anything. It was just handled. I'm sure behind the scenes it was contentious, obviously. But if you're smart and you don't waste a whole lot of time fighting over every plate, remember that scene from When Harry Met Sally? You're going to be paying $500 an hour to the firm of his versus mine, or whatever the firm was called. He was joking about that. It's going to happen in 20 years. Put your name in your books because, right. I remember when Greg Norman, the golfer, got married. Well, they got divorced a few years back. And it cost him like $300 million to get divorced. Like 300. I'm not looking at the numbers in front of me, but I remember talking about this on the air at the time. And he married Chris Everett, and they were married like 18 months. And I was trying to calculate. I'm not that great at math, but if you take 300 million and divide that by 18 months, what's the cost per night on that? It's not funny because it's really tacky. And can I just say, and I think we all know this, how horrible first of all, going out in public like that. And clearly he was with coworkers or friends who knew what was going on, which has got to be even more insulting to the wife. It's not like they caught you in a fancy hotel or a cheap motel. You're with friends. You're with other people who knew you were married and didn't care. I don't know if they were her friends, his friends, doesn't matter. That's horrible. And that's an additional blow when you are somebody who finds this thing out the hard way. But, when you do this, when you have an affair with somebody, you're married, he's married, even if just one of you are married, you know what they're capable of. And you are never the rest of your life going to be able to relax and enjoy your life with I'm not that most people don't. Most people don't leave their spouses in this situation to get married to the other one. They usually don't. But how could you possibly stand there with this person, even if you were dumb enough to want to marry them? Why would you do that? How could you do that? You know what they said the last time. You know what they violated the last time. So how can you, this time I mean it. Oh, really? And one of these people involved in this has already been married twice before. This is the husband. This is the husband of the woman who was screwing around. Is it really worth it, guys? I mean, you have to ask yourself. There was a situation in Vegas a while back where there was an attorney who was dealing with the case with a young girl who was trying to divorce her husband, and somehow the attorney and the girl got involved, which is totally unethical, of course. She got pregnant. They got a quickie divorce, I guess. She had 2 kids by this guy. It was a whole mess, just a disaster. His kids, her kids, their kid. It was a disaster. And the worst thing is what the kids have to suffer. It got so crazy that I know I'm trying to make it as clear as I possibly can. So you got 2 people cheating on their spouses who she got pregnant. They had a baby, got married. So the father-in-law, in other words, this girl who was cheating, her husband's father, found out he was terminally ill with cancer, and he was a lawyer too. So when they went in for some kind of a deposition or whatever, the attorney who had taken the girl away from her husband, which, first of all, you shouldn't be in the deposition when you're involved emotionally or physically with somebody. Not a good idea. This is why. So he goes in. This is the attorney who took the woman away from her husband, and his new wife goes in the room with the father-in-law, the mother-in-law, and an attorney. The father-in-law pulls out a gun and kills both of them. Kills the guy and the girl. Leaves a baby, like 6 kids without parents. Now, the reason I tell you this story is because these things have consequences. Nobody deserved that. I'm not saying that. But let's go back 55,000 bad decisions ago, and this is what happens. These things snowball. And in this case, I don't know these people at all, obviously, at the Coldplay concert. But lawyers are going to get, all kinds of money out of this because, there's all, going to be emotions involved and ego involved and all kinds of horrible things. They're going to be a part of it. And in the case of this situation in Vegas, this is the worst thing. Well, it's bad enough for the kids to lose their parents. The judge decided the kids were going to, the biological kids of this girl and her ex-husband were going to spend part of their time with one family, part of their time with another family. Can you even imagine how terrible that is for children? I don't care, pick a house and live there, but literally back and forth. How horrible. They're not going to ever have a stable life. I mean, that's the thing with these children. This woman has kids. This woman who's the wife of this guy at the Coldplay concert, she's got children with him. They're not babies. There were pictures on social media, which apparently she scrubbed completely, even scrubbed her last name off social media. I blame her. But come on, people, think. But to get outed in this way, it's like a Lifetime movie. So stupid for these people to behave like this. But like I said, you'll never sleep easy if you steal somebody away from their spouse because you know what they're capable of. How many lies do you tell to be able to, take somebody away from their spouse? Oh, no, really? It wasn't like, you're the one I love. It's never been like this with anybody. And another thing, and Ethan's just rolling his eyes because he knows I love cultural stuff. Another thing you have to think about with all these things are these people who are, they don't really care who they hurt. At the end of the day, you're going to be accountable for all this stuff. And you get to a certain point in your life, you get older, you get in your 50s, 60s, whatever. This guy's, I think, 50 years old. You get to that point in your life and you wind up with nobody because of the way you live your life. And this happens a lot of times with people. You can play musical chairs with human beings. You can get away with it in your 20s, maybe. Wait, you keep doing this 30s, 40s, 50s, then you get to the point in your life where there's nobody there for you because of the wreckage of your life. And is it really worth it? You have to ask yourself that. Because and another thing too, when you take on a situation like this, the reality of, even if you try to get married, and just move on together, the reality of all of the U-Hauls full of baggage that you're bringing into the marriage and all the hurt feelings and the kids and the this and the that and the money you lost, and that's going to destroy whatever fun you thought you were having at the concert. That's out the door because of all the pain that you bring into that situation. That's what people forget about. You may have fun in the motel, but when reality shows up, it'll be a whole different story. So there's your moral lecture today from me. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
You know what? We do have a jam out there right now. It's because of an accident westbound 70 past Cave Springs. And we've got some slow-moving traffic that goes back, good grief. It goes back to First Capital. Yep, it goes all the way back to 94. So if you are leaving downtown, 370 looks fine, 364 looks fine, 6440 looks fine, but 70 is jammed. And that's the worst of it right now. We look pretty good elsewhere. In fact, if you're headed into Illinois, no delays on the bridges downtown. And southbound 270 and 55 are in good shape. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Let's just face it, right? Your home should work for you, not against you. Hi, it's Kim. And if you've been dreaming of a new kitchen, bathroom, or a finished basement, now's the time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're St. Louis's trusted experts in turning houses into dream homes. Just imagine this, a spa-like bathroom, maybe a chef-inspired kitchen, Or how about a cozy basement perfect for some movie nights? Their team handles everything from design to installation so you can just sit back and enjoy the process. Visit lakesideRD.com today to start your dream renovation.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, August 5th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Tammy with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired? Do you have your personalized income plan in place? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than owning the market, and how in 39 years we have never lost a penny of our clients' money?
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your market gains every year without having to sell? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, at the Frontenac Hilton, Tuesday, August 5th at 6:30. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com. Now back to Mark Reardon, calling out the nonsense, one segment at a time. 97.1 FM Talk.
From Mark Reardon. How are you? Hope you're having a good day. The WNBA, as you know, has been in the news. Patrick Rishe is your director of the sports business program at Wash U to discuss among other things. This is the WNBA and the women complaining about how they're not making enough money. How are you, sir? Good to have you.
Me on.
Glad to have you here today. I'm going to plead ignorance here. And just admit the fact that I did not know this. I don't know how many Americans do, because I don't know how many Americans care about the WNBA. And let me just be upfront and say I'm not bashing the ladies. I know it takes tremendous physical abilities. I couldn't do it. Okay, I give them all the credit for that. Okay. But the truth is, it doesn't make money. I did not know. You know this. I did not know. They've never made money as long as they've existed in this league. They're basically financed by the NBA. I was not aware of any of that, and yet they're complaining that they're not making the big money. Whereas the NBA made what, 11 billion last year, and the WNBA lost 40 million. Just saying. Am I right about that?
Well, first of all, Heidi, thanks for having me on. And it's a very fascinating issue. And the structure that you mentioned, the NBA did report last year that the WNBA teams collectively lost in the neighborhood of 40 million. And when you look at this whole issue of collective bargaining, I think there's a lot of lessons to learn from other leagues. The other leagues, forget about what they're at in terms of their annual revenue that they bring in. Each of these leagues have now kind of gravitated to a place where the players are basically receiving about 50% of the league's revenues. Currently, the WNBA players are receiving, I've seen reports, somewhere in the 9 to 10% percentage of revenues. And so when you hear that number, regardless of how profitable or unprofitable the teams are, you can see where the players are looking at that and saying, wait a minute, all these other leagues, their players are getting a higher percentage of the revenue. So, here's the other angle to this, Heidi, which I think is fascinating, is we are in the midst of this kind of seismic change in the WNBA in terms of attendance, in terms of ratings. Starting next year, they're going to see a massive increase in television money. So I think part of this is the players getting out in front of this and saying, wait a minute, maybe we've been losing money in the past, but that may be changing. At least the size of the loss may be greatly reduced as this new TV money and corporate partnership money comes in.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. We're speaking with Patrick Rishe. I'm Heidi Harrison from Mark Reardon. He's the director of sports business program at Wash U. That's a great point. And apparently they were expected to lose 50 million last year, right? So maybe it's the Caitlin Clark effect that they lost less money than expected. So that's good. And you may be right about that. And I do think they should get the same percentage that the guys get if there's, with the collective bargaining agreement, which is what they're arguing about, of course, as you mentioned now. But at the end of the day, I mean, when is this ever going to be profitable? You've got great people like Caitlin Clark. You've got Asia Wilson. You've got some great people playing the game, a lot of great ones. But they just don't get the butts in the seats. I mean, do you think it's bad marketing? It's just people just don't care? What do you think contributes to the fact that they just don't, I don't know, that the public doesn't love them as much as they love the NBA?
Well, I think, Heidi, a couple things. As I just mentioned, that change in the media rights deal and the amount of money that they're going to be getting on an annual basis is about to really escalate in such a massive way. They did an 11-year deal with Disney, Amazon Prime, and NBC, and they're going to be receiving $200 million a year. Currently, they're not even getting a fourth of that. So that's going to be a massive, massive change to just the economics. And that is such a key thing, Heidi, because if you look at all of the major sports leagues in this country, media revenue is the top source of revenue for the NFL, for college football, for the NBA, for Major League Baseball. So that's a huge piece that I think is going to make a big change. My only concern, Heidi, as it relates to, and you look at what's happening, the recent news, they're going to be adding Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia as new expansion markets. They're coming in, I believe it's 28, 29, and 30. Next year, they're adding markets in Toronto and Portland will be joining the league next year. And on the one hand, they brought these teams in, taking advantage of the interest in the sport, a lot of private equity money, a lot of higher end people that maybe they want to buy into pro sports, but they can't buy in at the NFL level. This is more attainable. And the league wants to expand because those expansion monies are then shared across the league. So that can help cut into some of these losses, but that's not a longer term solution. The media rights deal, that is a better way of getting at a more sustainable model financially long term.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, that hopefully will be good for them because I want these girls to succeed and I want them to get, more money if they possibly can, but the league's got to make money first. We're speaking with Patrick Rishe, Director of Sports Business Program at Wash U. My handwriting's so bad that I can't even read your title correctly, Patrick. What do you say? When I posted about this on my Facebook page, Heidi Harris Show page, by the way, I posted about this. A lot of people were incensed that Caitlin Clark seems to be a target by so many players. Now, I know it's a rough game for anybody. Once again, I couldn't do it. But she certainly seems to get a lot of cheap shots, and a lot of people feel as if she's not being protected. Am I right or wrong? Because I've hardly seen any games, so maybe my perception's wrong.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I've seen enough of the highlights of these games to know that, is this a situation where anytime anything happens to Caitlin, it's just going to be talked about more because
right.
of Caitlin, or whether she is indeed kind of getting the business, let's say, from some of these more veteran players. And look, I don't know. It's probably a little bit of both. And so whether the league, you want to treat everybody fairly. And so the referees, should they be, kind of giving preferential treatment to the star players? You do hear anecdotal evidence that this happens in the NBA and has happened in the NBA for years and years and years. That people like Michael and LeBron getting favorable, treatment from the referees. But, I think at the end of the day, what is a bigger concern to me, which I think the WNBA is trying to address, is there does seem to be a lot of this kind of hatefulness on social media and sometimes at the arenas, at some of these players, not just Caitlin, but just some of the nastiness that takes place. We know that social media can be a cesspool, unfortunately, but I think that, part of the expense that the league has incurred is spending more money on security and so forth at some of these venues, because as you know, in basketball, whether it's men's or women's, the fans are so close to the court that whether it's verbal, whether it's, potentially having access and getting close to these players, it's a concern. So, is she being picked on? Probably a little bit. And she's having a tough season, by the way, with injury. So hopefully she can get past that.
Yeah, I don't even know how you diagnose a groin injury, but okay, I guess move your leg this far, it hurts. Okay, so you're right. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. But you're right about social media, it's how nasty it is. And they ran some ads during the college season, I believe, where they were talking about officials were saying, or the league was talking about how many nasty things are said to college players when they lose by people who are betting on the games, threats to their lives. We're talking college kids. I had no idea that was a thing, but apparently it's pretty prevalent.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the dangerous sides, right, of welcoming sports gambling more mainstream now into the sports industry, is that it's touching both pro and college sports. And yeah, as you say, Heidi, when you think of these pro young men and women being subjected to some of this, I mean, that's part of what we have now welcomed into our home with the legalization of sports gambling.
It's nasty. Well, we're used to it in talk radio, but we don't like to have college kids harassed like that. Right. Before I let you go, this is every day in talk radio. Before I let you go, this is very exciting news. A master's degree in sports business, and Wash U is going to be available to 2026. Tell me all about it.
Yeah, we're really excited. So our sports business program has been in business since 2015. This will be our 11th year. We've got almost 200 alums working in sports and have connections with 600 professionals at about 450 different companies. But we felt it was time to expand our offerings to the master's level starting next fall. Because, Heidi, I think there's a couple things we can do at Wash U that few schools can in the country, and that's access, mentorship, and community. By having the network that we have, in fact, I've been on the phone today with some of our alums, that access is so great that the alums will engage with your current students. And in some cases, alums that graduated 10 years ago are connecting with people that graduated 20 years ago, and they're building their network that way. So being able to create these wonderful opportunities, the internships, the entry level, a lot of these young kids, Heidi, that are trying to get into this industry, what they lack is maybe they lack the training, but they also just lack a foot in the door. And so with the connections that we have, we can help students get the training, get the mentorship, and more importantly, get that foot in the door and then let the cream rise to the top.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's fantastic. It's a great opportunity. Hey, thanks for joining me on the Mark Reardon Show today. Appreciate talking to you.
Thanks, Heidi.
Thank you. That's Patrick Rishe, Director of Washington University's Wash U, as they say, sports business program. Very exciting that people could get a master's degree. But, St. Louis is such a great sports town. There are all kinds of opportunities, and that's great because, the business of sports isn't that most of it? I think so. That's pretty good stuff. Ethan's all into the business aspect of it. I know my friend. He's always he's got it all down. I'm not sure. Oh, he's picking his headphones up. That's serious.
Yeah, no, it is interesting to hear kind of the details behind how the operation works, especially, the WNBA, I know that they've had their struggles, there seems like they're moving in a better direction here in the last year or two, which is good, but it's crazy to think, so much goes on behind the scenes, even for a league that is small compared to, the WNBA, or excuse me, to the NBA or the NFL, just how massive of an operation they all are. It is interesting, I think. So it was interesting information there in that interview.
Yeah, and it's funny how some people will say the officials are taking it easy on her or whatever, but they never say that about the Chiefs, do they?
Oh,
see, they're so
referring to Oh, you're talking. Listen, we don't want to get into this, Heidi. We do not want to get into this.
We don't want to get into the officials. Whenever the teams lose to the Chiefs, they start whining about the officials. You sure we don't want to get into that today? Okay, we won't.
I don't think we do.
All right. Much more to come on the Mark Reardon Show. Coming up, Ira Mehlman from the Federation for American Immigration Reform's got an update on what's going on with the border, the ICE agents, and the complete mess of trying to get the wrong people out of this country. That's coming up on the Mark Reardon Show. I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We look okay on the roads. If you are westbound on 6440, it looks great from downtown all the way out west, but 70, there was an accident near Cave Springs, and it's been blocking multiple traffic lanes, and as a result, we've got a jam that goes back past 94. So if you are traveling on 70, unfortunately, that is not the place to be. They had shut down the road for a while, and right now they've only got the right lane blocked. So hopefully that will look better here in just a few minutes. Quiet through North County, just the beginnings of some volume, southbound 270 at Ladue Road. And we look good if you're headed into Illinois. In fact, things look great. No delays on the bridges downtown. This report brought to you by Siding Express. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie Siding. At Siding Express, they specialize in James Hardie siding installation. Visit sidingexpress.com today to schedule a free consultation. Sidingexpress.com. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella Window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
3:31 is the time. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
For it, but I don't want Ethan Hannaford to get mad at me for doing the Taylor Swift reference, so I'm going to move on from that. Are you ready for it? Okay, not doing it. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Mark Reardon today. Joining us is Ira Mehlman from the Federation for American Immigration Reform. Always great to talk to him, especially now that things seem to be moving in the right direction in a lot of ways. How are you, Ira?
I'm doing well. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, too. You know, it's really disturbing to me. There's so much going on that's good, but it's very disturbing to me that they want these, people will show up to rallies or protests, I should say, or riots, covered head to toe. But they want these ICE agents exposed. They're, revealing some of their personal information. I mean, this is flat out scary what people are trying to do to ICE agents.
It absolutely is. And, it's quite possibly illegal. Essentially, what they are doing is encouraging violence, and not just violence, but violence against federal law enforcement officers. Look, everybody is free to disagree with the mission of ICE, with the direction this administration is taking immigration policy. If you want to disagree with it, you have that right. What you don't have the right to do is to put law enforcement officers in danger. You do not have the right to obstruct the execution of federal laws. And this is exactly what these agents are doing. They are duly empowered law enforcement officers carrying out the laws of the United States. And putting those people in danger is both wrong and potentially illegal.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something else, Ira. Somebody in my neighborhood, I think some people know that I'm from Vegas, and somebody put in the park near my house, they took chalk and they wrote "No ICE in LV." Okay, and I was walking my dog and I saw that on the ground. So I went home, got my car, came back with a watering can, took a little watering can. I did a video of this, and I put water on it and I scrubbed it off. And I said, this is how you stop this nonsense, because that's how it continues. When somebody doesn't, it's the old broken window theory. One person puts up with this, the next thing you know, the whole park. How dare you put that on my sidewalk? That's what we need to be constantly doing, is standing up for the right thing, standing up for the right people, standing up against the wrong things.
Yeah, even worse, though, you have supposedly responsible leaders, people like the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, the vice presidential nominee, comparing ICE to the Gestapo. You have Pramila Jayapal, who was the chair of the House Progressive Caucus, calling ICE a terrorist organization. And these are just two that come to mind. There have been many, many others who have come out with similar statements comparing ICE to terrorists, to Nazis. This is, it's not even subtle. It is an outright incitement. When you start accusing this agency of, falling into the same category with the Gestapo, you're basically giving people license to go after them.
Well, what it comes down to is the people on the other side, they truly don't want any kind of law and order. They don't want any kind of law enforcement, whether it's somebody stopping them for a some kind of traffic violation, or trying to protect our borders, or somebody being stopped for breaking into someone's store, whatever it is. They really don't want law enforcement at all. They don't want people stopped from just doing whatever they want to do.
No, and you see that, when ICE goes out there, or when ICE puts out a detainer and asks some local police department, you've got somebody in custody who's here illegally, we want to deport them if you're not going to charge them, and they refuse to cooperate. So, they are protecting not just, the gardeners and the, nannies and the other people they claim are just here trying to make a better life for themselves. They are also protecting criminal aliens, putting them back out onto the streets where they can reoffend. And then they turn around and complain when ICE sends agents into the community to find these people. And as Tom Homan has made clear, if we have to go out into the community to find somebody that you refuse to hand over to us, and if we happen to stumble across somebody else who's in the country illegally, may not have been on our radar scope, we're taking that individual as well. So these policies are actually backfiring on these advocates for illegal aliens, because by not turning over the criminals, they are actually putting the non-criminal illegal aliens in greater chance of getting found and removed from the country as well.
That's true. We're speaking with Ira Mehlman from the Federation for American Immigration Reform. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Mark Reardon. The other day, I put a story, an immigration story, on my Facebook page, Heidi Harris Show Facebook page. And I had a friend of mine who's an attorney in Vegas. He didn't identify himself as such, but I've known him for a long time, Democrat. And he said, well, I guess you're not worried about the kids being separated from their parents. And I said, hey, you're not worried about the kids being forced to work in pot farms. You're not worried about the children who are servicing the workers in the fields. You're not worried about kids disappearing. You're not worried about anything like that. This is amazing how they twist it, isn't it, Ira? Because a border that's not regulated has all kinds of victims, many of them illegal aliens. Can we all agree on that? I guess not.
Yeah, they are. And, you mentioned the kids. Under the Biden administration, you had hundreds and hundreds of thousands of minors coming into the country illegally. Many of them were being trafficked, forced into prostitution, other horrible things. Others are, put in places where they're working in dangerous situations like marijuana farms. And under the Biden administration, DHS and also the Health and Human Services Department actually lost track of hundreds of thousands of kids. They had them in their custody. They were brought in after they came across the border. There was pressure to just get them out the door. Anybody who stepped forward to sponsor these kids, they would release them in the custody of these people without vetting them. And very often it was the criminal cartels themselves who took custody of these kids and put them to work in precisely these situations. And you didn't hear a hue and cry about that. But look, I mean, if you're going to be deported, if you have U.S. citizen children, number one, you made the decision to come to the country illegally.
Right.
You understood what the potential consequences were going to be. And also, you're free to take your children with them. As a parent, most people would say, look, if I have to go, I'm taking my kids with me. They may be U.S. citizens. They can come back once they reach the age of majority, but I'm not leaving a little kid here in the United States by him or herself.
Yep. And, it's amazing to me, too, the people. I remember a couple of years ago, there was that football owner who was caught in a massage parlor. I'm not going over all that, okay? But it was a big controversy at the moment. They're snickering about it. But nobody said, hey, what about these women who are working there, whose passports have been taken away from them, who are basically being trafficked in these places? Nobody did a deep dive on that, did they, Ira? So these people who claim to care so much about illegals, they don't really want to talk about trafficking. They don't really want to know who's in the country illegally, who's being exploited. They never want to discuss that.
Look, I mean, we've developed a system of indentured servitude here, or even worse, practically outright slavery in the 21st century. It is a national disgrace, and it's been made possible by the open border that we've had. I mean, clearly it was worse than ever under the Biden administration, but it predates the Biden administration. This blind eye that we have been turning to mass illegal immigration has resulted in precisely the kinds of conditions that allow these ruthless people to exploit children, women, just anybody who they can get their hands on. And as a country, we should be ashamed of what has been happening.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a former homicide investigator, and he investigated several MS-13 killings, okay? Just for those in the back who don't get it, these nice little people who they don't want kicked out of the country. I mean, these people do things like take your organs out of your body when you're still alive. You know this, Ira, I hope kids aren't listening, but this is important for people to understand how evil this group of people, they really are. And they've got, for anyone to stand there and say, oh no, they need due process. They need this. They're not even citizens. They're not entitled to due process. It's stunning to me, Ira, when I hear these stories.
Yeah, look, I mean, they came into the country without due process.
Right.
This idea that we can give everybody who is in the country illegally, an extended hearing in courts and, with appeals, that's precisely been the strategy of the advocates for open borders. And the cartels themselves have been taking advantage of it. They've been telling people, you cut to the United States, they're going to put you, give you a court hearing date sometime in the 2030s. Maybe you show up for it, maybe you don't. Even if your case is turned down, you start appealing it. It's years and years and years before there's any final resolution. And even then, they don't remove you from the country. So this has been part of the strategy to basically collapse the system, overwork the court system to a point where it simply cannot function. And so everybody gets to stay.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have a friend former producer of mine, you'd know him, who went to become a paralegal, got his master's and all that. And he is working in immigration now, legal immigration, right? To help people legally immigrate. But a lot of the people they're calling now who filed paperwork, who've paid money, done things the right way, they try to call them, they're gone. They're back in their home countries because they're nervous. They should be. I mean, I know you're trying to do things right, but if you came in illegally, everybody should be looking over their shoulder. I would be if I went into another country without any legal way to do it.
Right. Look, we all understand why people would want to come to the United States. Sure. Nobody gets up in the morning and says, I'm going to America in order to be worse off. We can assume that they're going to be substantially better off here. And it's a perfectly normal human aspiration. But we live in a world of 8.2 billion people. We simply cannot have everybody who is dissatisfied with where they are come to the United States. There are things that we can do to help people try to make changes in their home countries. But ultimately, the best hope for the vast majority of people who are dissatisfied with where they are is to make those changes there. We simply cannot accommodate everybody who would like to come to the United States, which is why we have rules. It's not to be mean and keep people out. It is because we recognize that, number one, if we ask the system to do the impossible, we're going to fail. And we're also going to undermine the interests of the American people. And, I think we've all seen exactly that happen over the past few years.
Right. Not just the American people, but the immigrants who come here, once again, shouldn't come here illegally, but the horrible stuff that's done to them, that these do-gooders who want to protect everybody don't ever even talk about. They never consider that. They don't care about it, which goes to show you how hypocritical they are.
Yeah. They don't care about the immigrants themselves, even though they claim to. It's ideologically driven. They want open borders for ideological reasons, or it is because they want access to low-cost labor that they can then, charge the American public for all the services that people require. So it's either ideological or financial. But the bottom line is it results in exploitation, and it also undermines the interest of the American public, and we should not tolerate it.
No, we should not. Ira Mehlman, Media Director, Federation for American Immigration Reform. Always great to talk to you, my friend, and keep up the good fight.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you. That website is fairus.org. Please check it out. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Mark Reardon. Coming up, we're going to talk about a guy arrested after 22 burglaries across the St. Louis area. Are you sure that's all? I don't know. These so-called nonviolent offenders. We'll get to that much more on the Mark Reardon Show.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Watch out for an accident on the ramp from southbound 270 to westbound 370. The left lane is blocked, and thank you to Keith on X for sending me a photo of that. And there is, of course, a delay in that area. Now, westbound 70, they cleared that accident near Cave Springs, all lanes open, but it's a little slow as things unwind at 94. Now, westbound 6440, picking up volume at Hampton. Southbound 270, some moderate volume at Ladue Road. And other than that, we're pretty much okay. Southbound 55, just some moderate volume near Bates. No delays as you head into Illinois. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Let's show our appreciation for local heroes. Mark Cox here. Nominate a first responder and their department could get lunch from Grill Master Tony's. I'll personally deliver it. Share their story at 971talk.com. Nominate them today.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Get this, 42% of baby boomers don't even know how much money they have in their nest egg. If you're not sure where you stand in terms of getting ready for retirement, you should be listening to the All Financial Hour with Steve All.
Let's sit down and talk about your questions, because I think that's the most important thing that it is out there. It's what questions do you have?
Tune in to the All Financial Hour with Steve All, Saturday mornings at 6, right here on 97.1 FM Talk.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Back to Mark Reardon, because someone's got to say it out loud. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Good afternoon. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Mark Reardon. You can follow me on all the socials, Heidi Harris Show, Heidi Harris Show, Heidi Harris Show. And my podcast is available on the Odyssey app, Heidi Harris Show, so check it out when you get a chance. U.S. Marshals have arrested a serial burglar, they say, well, alleged, all right, wanted for a string of break-ins across the St. Louis area. Listen to this guy. Armin Simpson is his name, of Belleville, Illinois. 9 departments were investigating him before they finally tracked him down. He was caught on camera after a string of burglaries and has been connected to at least 22 break-ins in a 30-day period. 22 break-ins in a 30-day period. Get a real job. Across the greater St. Louis area. He went to one apartment complex 3 times over the span of one weekend this spring. Now, here's what I want to mention to help you, because it's important that, obviously, we'll talk about low-life burglars, but apparently what he was doing is he specifically targeted first-floor apartments with unlocked sliding glass doors. And listen, I understand when you live in an apartment, I mean, obviously, you should lock the slider. Duh. But it's hard, because if you live in a home, if you decide to put up some kind of security thing, or you can put up, there are various things you can do. Security film on the window so someone can't break the window, this and that, you can put up things. But even in an apartment, you could put, the slider, the piece of wood, the dowel, in the track so someone can't open your slider, and obviously lock your sliding glass doors. But, it's amazing how many people don't and how many stories you hear. But, it's not the fault of the people who are victimized. I got to tell you, I get real tired of hearing this mantra from people who will say, oh, they're the nonviolent offenders. And many people and yes, there are nonviolent offenders, I get it, but a lot of people put burglars in the category of nonviolent offenders. And I would argue that that's not correct. A lot of times people will, look at these people the other day in LA. Did you see that story? $4 million house in Encino, California. If you don't know where that is, pretty nice neighborhood. $4 million house. And they had a guy who kept jumping fences and breaking in. They called on this guy. Neighbors had called on this guy. And I guess from what the last I've heard, they came home and they surprised him. He killed them both. Now, this is what you need to know, guys, because they may be nonviolent and they may not even have a gun, but they got a gun at the last house they broke into because somebody left it. I'm not saying secured or unsecured. If you need a gun quickly, you don't want to have to, you should have it available. But people hide them in dumb places and burglars know where they hide them. So somebody grabs a gun at this house, across the street. Then they come to your house. Now they've got a gun and you surprise them. They don't expect you to be home. They thought you were at work, no car in the garage. Or on the street. They thought you were gone. That's what happens with these people. And many of these folks, I can't speak to this guy, obviously, but many of these people who do this are drug addicts. And they'll do, anything for drugs. I actually know somebody whose son was killed by police burglarizing like a $5 million house. And he was an older guy too. I mean, not older, but not a kid. He wasn't some punky teenager. He was probably well into his 40s. And he was burglarizing a really expensive house and killed by police doing it. And he had a drug problem. And that's the whole thing. When people have a drug problem, they're coming after your stuff. And it makes it very difficult. And burglars, not only that, even if they don't take a lot of stuff, they've been through your stuff. They've been in your house. They've been through your drawers. And apparently this guy was also caught using a stolen credit card at a gas station. That's another thing that there are all kinds of videos online you can watch. Burglars, you should. Burglars talking about how they picked their victims. Or the houses they weren't going to, the dogs bother them. Some burglars say, no, I'll just throw your dog, whatever's in the kitchen. I'll open the fridge and I'll throw them that leg of lamb and they'll shut up. Maybe that's true of some dogs. I don't know about all. Some will say, I'm not even going to deal with dogs of any size, period. So there are different ways that they decide, who they're going to burglarize. It's real important to look at that. And one of the reasons, obviously, one of the ways is they don't assume you're home. They don't want to run into you for the most part. I remember when I was about 18, I was delivering flowers for a flower shop. And I went to a funeral home and there was a really good looking guy. I know it sounds weird, but a really good looking guy in a casket, like 22 years old. And I said to the people, even dead, he was good looking. I said, what's he doing here? And they said, he surprised a burglar. And I never forgot that story. So fast forward like 10, 12 years later, I'm doing talk radio. And I remembered his name, and I would see his mother having to go up to the state capitol again and again to have to testify because her son walked in and surprised a burglar. So, some people say, oh, it's just a burglar. You never feel safe in your house once somebody's been in there rifling through your stuff, going through your drawers. What a creepy feeling it is forever. So I think the idea that someone breaks into a house that's not theirs, to me, it offends my sensibilities. That's for sure. But drug addicts, they don't care what they do. They don't care who they hurt. They don't want to run into you. They just want to get your stuff that they can pawn. But if they do, I remember there was a guy a couple of years ago in Vegas who 9 o'clock in the morning, the burglar thought he wasn't home because he'd watched the roommate leave. Then he breaks into the house after he sees the roommate leave. The other roommate worked the graveyard shift and he was sleeping. He came out in the hallway. There was a gunfight 9 o'clock in the morning in the guy's living room because the burglar had seen the one person leave, obviously not wanting to run into that person. Crazy. So protect yourselves, guys. Make sure you lock your doors, put those little dowels in the tracks of your sliders, and get a dog, get a whatever kind of alarm system, but pay attention because these little low lifes, and I'm cleaning up my language, they're just the worst of the worst as far as I'm concerned. Don't understand why they do it. But I'm glad they caught this guy. 22 burglaries. I'll bet it was a lot more than that. I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, we do have a little bit of volume on westbound 6440, mainly approaching Kings Highway out past McCausland. Southbound 55, a little slow there at Bates. 70 westbound, there was some volume at 94 and then approaching K, but none of this is serious. Just a brief slowdown. There is an accident on the ramp from southbound 270 to westbound 370. They've been working to get that from the left side off to the right. And moderate volume southbound 270 at Ladue Road. And also, looks like it's right there around Doherty Ferry as well. This report brought to you by the Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. Active Liver provides an easy daily detox. Go to nordiciusa.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New you, new Nordic.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
While you start to think spring, that might mean a move is in your future, but the question is, when is the right time to buy? Well, I go to my friend Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage to ask that question. Stewie, how do buyers beat the competition when they're looking to buy a new home?
All right, Annie, we're going to give you 3 big bullets. Number 1, get the bagel loan, no closing costs. If you don't have to pay those closing costs, add it to the bid, you'll beat all the other offers. Number 2, tell the seller you're going to close in 10 days. 10 days, most lenders take 30 days just to get the loan approved. He's going to take your offer over everybody else's right away. Number 3, we give you the power of the pre-approval in your hands. You can access our portal anytime you want and generate your own pre-approval letter. Don't wait for the lender. You can make it happen yourself.
Well, the smart move starts by calling or texting my friend Stewie at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. He just gave you those 3 tips to smart buying to beat the competition. Google the bagel loan for more information. NMLS number 226715.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
A Midwestern mom from Edwardsville, Illinois, rooted in faith, grounded in family. Annie Fry brings common sense and conviction to the conversation. The Annie Fry Show, weekdays at noon on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis conservative. KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Sue's News coming up in just about 15 minutes. Up next, Fox News at the top of the hour.
They're pulling out of L.A. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The Pentagon confirming more of the service members deployed during recent protests over immigration raids are being sent home as the city's mayor calls again for a full withdrawal.
LA Mayor Karen Bass says there's nothing for the military to do in the city, stressing it's been roughly a month since any protest devolved into problems, and saying 60% of those detained by ICE have no criminal record.
Nobody's defending that you shouldn't remove people who are violent or rapists or in cartels. That hasn't been the issue. But I have always had a hard time believing that the woman standing selling pineapples is a hardened criminal. Are the people who were gardeners or landscapers?
The Pentagon is releasing the 700 Marines deployed to the city during unrest over ICE raids, saying their presence was instrumental in restoring order.
Fox's Christian Goodwin, about half of the 4,000 National Guard members deployed to L.A. remain. The Trump administration releasing records from the FBI's surveillance of Martin Luther King Jr. They'd been under a court-imposed seal for decades. A statement from King's family asks that the files be viewed with empathy and in their full historical context, adding that they support transparency but object to any attacks on King's legacy or efforts to undermine the achievements of the civil rights movement. A federal judge in Boston hearing arguments in a Harvard lawsuit accusing the Trump administration of illegally freezing nearly $3 billion in federal funding.
The university's legal team says the government is violating its First Amendment rights. Now, the government lawyers countered that the school did not comply to ensure the safety of Jewish students on campus during pro-Palestinian protests. The Trump administration laid out a series of sweeping changes back in April in a letter to the school. It refused and filed a lawsuit.
Fox's Lauren Green. America is listening to Fox News.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place. For changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
We're warm and humid for any evening plans. Today, the coolest of the week by far. 80s this evening, 77 for the overnight low. Tuesday, partly sunny, hot and humid. A couple of spot storms in the afternoon. 97 for the high. Warm and humid Tuesday night, 77. Wednesday and Thursday could be the hottest of the week. Partly sunny, hot and humid, 99 each day. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
As the old saying goes, size matters.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday.
And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon today. No, I'm not Annie Fry. I mean, I would take that as a compliment, but I'm not her. Just make sure you know that. Always fun hanging out with some of my very favorite people in the radio business, and Mark's taking a well-deserved day off. You can follow Mark Reardon, by the way, on X at Mark Reardon KFTK, Mark Reardon KFTK, and follow, of course, the station, 97.1 FM Talk on all the socials. We'll look forward to having him back, that's for sure. All right, we're going to talk a little more politics next hour, but before we do, I just have to laugh. James Carville, the lizard that keeps coming out, whether you like him or not, he seems like a smart guy. I don't agree with a lot of things he says, but he had an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal today where he was just trashing the Democrats. Here's some of the quotes. He said, constipated, leaderless, confused, a cracked out clown car, divided. He said, these are the words I hear my fellow Democrats using to describe our party as of late. The truth is they're not wrong. The Democrat Party is in shambles. And I got to tell you the truth. When it comes to Carville and Democrats in general, I'm still trying to figure out what they stand for. I guess there are certain people you could ask them what they believe about this or that, and they'd have a list of things they can give you. But the Democrat Party, I don't know what they stand for. It seems to me that what they stand for is, anything that's anti-family, anything that's anti-American, anything that's anti-law and order. I'm trying to figure out what they stand for. Killing babies, killing old people with assisted suicide. I'm trying to look for the happy, what do they used to call it? Who was it who called it the happy? The joy. Where's the joy? Yeah. Where's the joy? I don't see joy when all you're trying to do is tear down, in my opinion, as a conservative, tear down society. They want your kids reading garbage books. They want 8-year-olds reading very sexual books in public libraries. So not when you're around as a parent to make those decisions. What do they stand for? They don't want people who were here illegally picked up. They want the cops defunded. Am I missing anything? That's what they stand for. And most Americans are not on board with that. Next hour, we're going to talk a little bit about a new poll that's come out about Democrats. We'll talk with Terry Jones about there's a new polling story about Democrats polling because nobody knows what they stand for anymore other than everything that's American. As far as I'm concerned, from what I can see, I'm just trying to figure out what they stand for. It's anti-law and order. They want people voting who should not be voting. They want people in the country who should not be in the country. They want your daughter to be able to go into an abortion clinic at 12 and be able to get an abortion and be able to cover up the fact that somebody 25 years old, got their hands on her. Do you understand? That's a huge factor. Whatever you think about abortion, whether you think it's you're pro-life or whatever, do you understand that a big aspect of that is people being able to cover their tracks? You get that, right? That's a big deal. If you really cared about women, and they're so worried about certain things with women, women must be believed and all this stuff. If you really cared about women, you would also care about girls. And you would also, if somebody came into the clinic 13 years old pregnant, somebody should go to jail. That's very simple, but that's not what happens at Planned Parenthood. So I'm trying to figure out what it is that the left stands for. And apparently a lot of Americans feel the same way because they're trying to figure it out too. All they hear is anti-law and order. I went by a store the other day on my way to get something else, and police car, there was a guy boarding up, and somebody had broken the entire glass window of a health food store, for heaven's sake. I don't know what you needed in there. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy things there, but what you steal and what you're going to steal. Supplements? I don't know. But broke the whole window, the whole door, glass door. Oh, you got insurance. Well, we all pay for insurance. So now this business owner is going to lose a lot of money because he's got to pay somebody to board the place up. This guy was quick on the spot to do that. And those people cost money. So you got to pay that. Then you've got to pay someone to put in the glass. Who knows how long that'll take it. In the meanwhile, there's glass all over the floor. Your customers are going to look and maybe stop by and say, no, I don't want to stop by there today. It looks too creepy. It looks like someone tried to break in. It gives them the ick. So there are all these untold costs of not caring about law and order. And when we don't care about law and order, it keeps getting worse. That's what I was talking with Ira Mehlman about earlier in the show. If you missed it, the idea that somebody had put on the sidewalk near my home in chalk, a thing that said no ice in LV. So Las Vegas, no ice in Las Vegas. And they put it in chalk. And I went home. So I was walking my dog and I went home, got my car, got a watering can, came back. put water on it, scrubbed it off, made a video about it, put on Instagram. And I said, this is how you stop this stuff. This is how it starts. This is how. Now, am I going to stop everything? No, I'm not. They sent a message. I sent one too. I'm paying attention. We're all paying attention. What do the Democrats stand for? I don't know. Just whatever's law and order, whatever's anything that that's American, that's establishment, that's right or wrong. They're against that. Your kids should be able to get their body parts chopped off when they're 8. They should be able to read whatever they want to when they're 8. Never mind the fact that video games have ratings on them for age, and never mind. But that's what they stand for anymore, and that's why they're losing so many voters. And that doesn't mean we as conservatives can take it easy and rest on our laurels and say, "Oh, it's going to be good in 2026," because they can't get it together. We can't do that. But when James Carville's screaming the alarm, and a lot of other people are screaming the alarm that, hey, Democrats got to get it together. That's good for us, isn't it? Bad for America, though. That's a problem. I'm Heidi Harris. Sue's News coming up. This is the Mark Reardon Show.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
MoDOT is reporting some debris on northbound 55 at Butler Hill. Watch for that in the 2 left lanes. And a stall reported southbound 270 just past Tesson Ferry. That on the right side. It looks to me like it may be on the right shoulder. Now, crews have been dealing with an accident on the ramp from southbound 270 to westbound 370. And there's a little bit of volume southbound 270 at 70 and eastbound 70 at 270. And other than that, I'll tell you what, we really do look good. And that's on the Illinois side as well. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, August 5th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Tammy with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired? Do you have your personalized income plan in place? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than owning the market? And how in 39 years we have never lost a penny of our clients' money?
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your market gains every year without having to sell? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, at the Frontenac Hilton, Tuesday, August 5th at 6:30. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
The heat's really been extreme last week or so. I have a wife that's going through change of life, and she woke me up at 3 a.m. and said there's something wrong with the air conditioner. I checked the thermostat, and it's set at 66, and it is saying 66. Like we set it every single night. I said, okay, how do you feel? She goes, okay, well, as long as it's 66. And then within 2 minutes, all the covers are back on her, and she says she is freezing. I said, honey, the air conditioner isn't broke. Your thermostat is broke. So if you're living that way, my advice is this. I'm not the brightest bulb in the box, but here's what I do. I keep my laughter inside. It is real what you're feeling. You don't need to call me. You can say you called me, but you don't need to call me. Save your money. This is Bart Inman. One easy number in Missouri, Illinois, 314-293-2600. God bless.
You know how you always want to know about everyone else's money? On the podcast, What We Spend, guests will, for 1 week, tell us everything they spend their money on.
My son slammed $6 worth of blueberries in 5 minutes.
And everything that makes them feel.
I want to own a house. I want to have a child. But this morning, I really wanted a coffee.
Because at the end of the day, money is always about more than your balance. Listen to and follow What We Spend, an Odyssey original podcast. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.
From politics to pop culture, Reardon breaks it all down. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon. I don't know about y'all, but I look forward every day to Sue's News. How you doing, Sue?
Great, thank you.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
I am going to go back to on this day in history, and I'm going to take us back to 152 years ago today, when in 1873, Jesse James held up the Rock Island Express near Adair, Iowa, in his very first train robbery. How about that?
Wow.
152 years ago today. Here's what's interesting. Only $6,000 was reported lost, but it turns out it was more like 65 grand. But the train company didn't want the public to know they carried that much money, because that was a thing then, to rob trains. So they said, oh, it's only $6,000, but he got away with a lot. Think how much that would be 152 years ago.
You're right.
That's a chunk of change, right?
No kidding.
Yes.
And 56 years ago today, in 1969, is when Neil Armstrong and Edwin Buzz Aldrin blasted off from the moon after 21 and a half hours on the surface. And they came back. But, you know, the people who say, oh, it's all a fake, oh, they never went, are all in an uproar today. Oh, you can't come back if you never went. Okay, that's great.
They went to the warehouse. Come on.
That's
Quitline.
right. It was all a giant sham. All right.
One small step for mankind is what it was. Yeah.
Right.
Not a giant leap.
It's National Get Out of the Doghouse Day. Fred, do you need that?
I know. I'm good right now.
How about you, Ethan?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. And National Junk Food Day. Heidi Harris, what's your favorite junk food? It's a hard one, isn't it?
Red Vines. I like all of it, but I'm going to go with Red Vines first. It's not a food group. I understand, but yeah.
What is she saying?
Red Vines, a type of
Red
licorice.
Vines? Oh, it's a
kind of licorice.
Yeah, that's on my list.
Is it
Licorice.
really?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's disgusting. You two are insane. Okay, what is yours, Fred? It's red licorice?
Right now, it's either red licorice. I've been eating a lot of Cheez-Its.
Oh,
Does
that's
that count?
it. That's a
chocolate milk.
junk-ish
Chocolate milk
food.
is a long-standing.
Yeah, we love the
favorite of
chocolate
mine.
milk. Fred always combines it with something healthy. It's chocolate, but there's milk, so it might be
That's
okay.
right,
It's
yeah.
what about
That's
you,
right.
Ethan?
There is one that holds king in my heart above the rest, and it is double stuffed Oreos.
Oh, that sounds good. Man, that sounds good. I think mine would be, well, I'd really have to think about that. I haven't had.
You don't have any food sins.
Oh,
do
well,
you?
sure. Well, not that I actually would. Not
that you'd actually partake in it.
Right.
Come on, spit it out. There's got to be something.
But I do
terrible for
love
you
the
that you
mint
love.
chip ice cream. If I'm going to cheat, yeah. Well,
once
man, I
every
love it.
6 years.
Yeah, I don't know. Man, that sounds good to me. I like a Mounds bar. I'm a weirdo, but I like the dark chocolate.
Out of all of the options, you pick a Mounds bar.
That is
Sue,
correct.
come on.
Right.
Okay, I found this out just before I came in here. Malcolm Jamal Warner, Theo from The Cosby Show, has passed away at age 54. We've got some sound.
Is that a decal?
No.
Have you been tagged by the Wildlife Society?
It's an earring, Dad.
I am going to fix your ear.
Then what?
You expecting some sort of punishment?
Shouldn't I?
Yeah.
It's sad. Malcolm Jamal Warner was on vacation in Costa Rica and drowned. And I've read stories that said he was swimming yesterday in the ocean and was just swept away by a strong current, and it took him into deeper waters.
That's terrible.
And I know his daughter was there. I'm not sure about his wife. He was super private about this sort of thing. And apparently the name of his wife isn't even out there. I tried to Google it. His daughter, you can see, he was a guy who did kind of the side of her head or back of the head pictures. That's the only way you could see her. And he had put those up on Instagram in 2019.
Wow.
But yeah, nothing current. But it's just heartbreaking. She was only 2 in 2019. They say that he got swept away, but people on the beach, once they figured out what was happening, went to help him, but it was too late. And when they got him onto the beach, he could not be revived.
I wonder if he tried to fight it, or, they always say to let the
you're
current
supposed
take
to
you
go.
out and just eventually can get out of it and swim back to shore or get assistance. But that's very sad.
Aren't you supposed to swim parallel to the beach if you get caught in a rip tide? Parallel, just and not try to go forward, but try to go. Just that's what I've read.
All I know is
I'm not a good enough swimmer.
You'll tire yourself out. And that's how people drown.
You will, and you can imagine how terrified you'd be. I mean, that would scare you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I mean, so I think you're probably right. Go with the flow.
But the natural tendency is
to fight.
You have to swim. You got to get back. Yep. Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Ooh, that's terrible. But he was on the Cosby Show, 84 to 92. But I remember him from the movie Fool's Gold, which is a total chick flick. Heidi, did you see that? Probably not. No, probably the only person.
Skip that one.
It's probably a good choice there, but it's got Matthew McConaughey in it.
Okay.
Oh, listen, I'll watch him in a car commercial say nothing. I'm good with that. Yeah,
all right. During their show Saturday night in Madison, Wisconsin, of course, Chris Martin actually warned the audience now before they did the kiss cam. He said, quote, "We'd like to say hello to some of you in the crowd. How we're going to do that is we're going to use our cameras and put some of you on the big screen. So please, if you haven't done your makeup, do your makeup now." So they're just trying to warn the heck out of people now before they do that camera. And a fan posted footage about it. He put it on X and said they showed 0 couples.
Oh, my goodness.
I think they're just trying to play it safe, Fred, What can you do?
So, that's crazy.
When I was a kid growing up in Vegas, you couldn't even take a picture in a casino. You weren't allowed to.
Oh, really? I could see that.
Because there was the assumption it might be a business trip. So you were not allowed to. And of course, now that horse left the barn with cell phones and stuff. But back when I was a kid, you could not do it.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if they tried for a while with people with cell phones to try to prevent them from doing that. You just can't anymore. You can't even tell when anybody's doing that. Oh, this was wild. Oh, I should have told you this, Ethan. Do you have insect news over there?
I definitely do.
All right, see if you can find insect news for this next story.
News?
Yeah, we actually have an intro for insect news when something like this happens. Do you have it?
I have it in here somewhere. I just have to find where it is.
This is my fault for not saying
it.
Yeah,
it's definitely a hotkey. Come on, where is that?
Come on, insect
There it
news.
is. I got it.
Okay, all right.
It's worth it.
It's time for Insect News.
This is an unfortunate story, people.
This is a highlight, a real highlight of our show.
Killing me.
A stampede broke out at Atlanta train station last week as fans were leaving a Beyonce concert. Now, 11 people were injured, and 7 of those actually had to be transported to the hospital. Why? It was because someone freaked out when they saw a bug.
Oh, my God.
What kind of bug?
A public transport official said, quote, "The person began screaming and running, causing a stampede on the escalator that caused it to temporarily speed up and then come to a sudden stop."
Oh, no.
All because of a bug.
Was it a bee?
They haven't said, no, it's probably not a bee.
But how funny would that have been? Because it was a Beyonce queen bee.
That didn't occur to me. Okay, I'll give you points for that.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
That was a Mikey Elam joke.
It was.
It's out the door.
Yes. Most people just suffered minor injuries. The type of bug has not been identified, but that is how much people are afraid of bugs.
Oh, sheesh.
That's... That's
Uh-huh. Well, the TSA has announced that they're adding new, I thought of Ethan when I read this, dedicated family lanes, not because of that part, but the new family lanes are supposed to help, quote, "mitigate the unique challenges families face when traveling and minimize stress while maintaining the highest level of security." Now, the thing is, they're only going to be available at a few airports to start, with more being added in the coming months. But, that's great. If you're a family and you've got like a stroller and, all the equipment that goes with it, you will be put in a dedicated line for that. And their idea is maybe it'll go quickly. And between that and the fact that we don't have to take off shoes eventually, it might actually work. Fred, what were you thinking?
Oh, I think it would work. I think they're also going to do away with the certain amount of ounces
Oh,
or they're going to at least.
Man,
I think
can't
they're raising
wait.
it at least.
They're raising it?
Oh,
Yeah.
they are?
Mhm.
How high?
I'm not sure. All I saw is that's the next thing they're kind of working on. I don't know if they've announced what it'll be or not.
Okay, because that's going to be awesome. But they're also, this is why I thought of Ethan, offering discounted TSA pre-check rates.
Why do you need it discounted?
Uh-huh.
It's a discount in general.
Uh-huh. But it's only for families, I guess, and it's $15 off. And they've been adding, this I think is a good idea too, honor lanes for the military community. They're already available in 11 airports, and they're going to expand that and take it nationwide. Well, that's kind of nice, right? If you're military, you could at least do that. How much did you say it was for the pre-check, Ethan?
I think we said 65.
That's what I'm
70
For a year or for what? How long does
for
that go for?
TSA pre-check.
5 years.
5 years.
You pay $65 for 5 years?
Yes.
Where have I been?
That's what I'm saying. It's such a
Yes.
good deal. If you
$10
travel
was
even a
such a
couple
deal.
times a year, it becomes worth it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it does. I had no idea it was so.
I didn't either.
A
And
mysterious perk. Now I know.
Exactly, because I always thought, well, that's, that can't be $60 for 5 years. All right, fine. All right.
That's cheaper than a card for the national parks.
Well, how much are those?
They're pricey, especially if you get one that lasts forever. They're pricey.
The only thing you have to do really that takes any time is inconvenient. You have to go to the airport. You have to go sign a bunch of stuff like in an office there, and the whole parking thing. But that's it. I mean, I did it one morning before work. Didn't even take an hour.
Okay, that's impressive. Oh, Jeannie Sullivan said seniors only $50 for 5 years. Look at that, Fred. Are you going to do it?
That's that's when you're going to be traveling more,
I'm
probably.
all
Retire, go see the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, that's a deal. All right, it's something to consider. All right, in a new poll, 16% of American adults say they've only been to, well, I don't know if I'd say only, but how about this? Only 16% of American adults say they've been to 30 or more states. Have you ever added up how many states you've been to? Has it been 30? I think I might get 30.
Yeah.
Ethan, you're young.
I don't-
Lady?
Well over 40.
Okay, wow, that's impressive.
Here's the question: Does driving through it count, or does it mean visiting? Because there's different.
I say it counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, driving through Texas, you get 2 states.
Oh my gosh, isn't that the
Trust
truth?
I don't know if
Never
I'm
wanna see
quite to
North Texas.
30, but I would say I'm probably at 25.
That's not bad.
Driving through counts. You stopping for gas counts.
Exactly. You're still in the state. 5% of adults say they have never been to another state. That boggles the mind. I don't even know what to do with that. Other than the one they live
maybe
in.
they live in the heart of Texas.
Well, that's true. They'd have to go too far. But yeah, they say the most visited states are Florida, New York, Texas, and California. The least visited are, what you got, Fred? Give me one.
The least visited?
You've been to one of them fairly recently.
Oh, really?
In a plane.
In Alaska.
That is correct. North
Really?
Dakota, Vermont, and Montana. I would think, I feel like all of social media is people saying at one point or another during the year, I'm on an Alaskan cruise.
Right.
Is it me?
Montana, Yellowstone? People haven't been to Montana?
I know.
I mean, I'm not saying everyone should. I'm saying of states you've never been to, that didn't seem like they would be on the list.
Sorry, I'm a little bit late here, but I've been to exactly 25.
And finally, in Sue's news, we have today's random fact, which I'm shortening as we speak. In Europe, Cool Ranch Doritos are called Cool American Doritos.
I wouldn't eat one of those if I was on Survivor.
That's it for Sue's news.
Drop us in with your money now. CNBC reports Southwest Airlines' tickets with seat assignments will in fact go on sale July 29th. The carrier plans to end its hallmark open seating policy on January 27th. Peacock will soon be charging consumers more per month. The Comcast-owned streaming service says it's hiking its subscription rates by $3 starting next week. Beginning July 23rd, new and returning subscribers will pay $10.99 a month for Peacock Premium and $16.99 a month for Premium Plus. Warner Brothers' Superman flew past the competition for the second straight week, grossing an estimated $57.25 million to top the weekend box office. On Wall Street, stocks finished the session mixed, with the Dow dropping 19 points. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ both up slightly. Crude oil futures are above $67 a barrel. That's your money now.
When was the last time you detoxed your body? If you're like most people, the answer is probably never. Toxins accumulate in our bodies every day from pollution in the air we breathe and water we drink, as well as the food we eat, especially if that food includes fast food, processed food, and sugar. How do you know if you're suffering from a buildup of toxins? If you're experiencing low energy, brain fog, headaches, bloating, and skin irritation, then those are all telltale signs. So, how do you detox your body? Well, you can add saunas or juice fasts, but what you really need is Active Liver from New Nordic. Containing a powerful blend of turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract, Active Liver makes it easy to help your liver detox your body all year long without major changes to your diet or lifestyle. Try Active Liver today and start feeling better with more energy immediately. Active Liver comes in both a delicious gummy or tablet. Active Liver is available in stores at CVS or Meijer, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel, and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The time is 4:32. This time check, as always, sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air.
Built in the heartland, for the heartland. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Good afternoon. I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon. How you doing? You're having a good day. We're going to be speaking with Frank Cusumano, KSTK Sports Director, coming up here in just a few minutes. And some good news about his son, too. Some good stuff. All right, this is a topic that gets a lot of people really upset, and I get it. Sue probably will have an opinion on this, and we're happy to have you weigh in on this, Sue. City officials in Festus are cracking down on the feeding of stray cats because large colonies have started to draw complaints from residents. And I like cats. I'm a dog person more, but I certainly like cats. And
Same.
Right. I like them, right? I've rescued cats out of the street, stray cats. I've, done all that stuff. Love cats. But yeah, so apparently you're no longer allowed to feed or water stray cats in Festus. What people don't talk about with cats is how many animals they kill. Right? All the birds and all the things they prey on, right? Is that
yes. But they also reproduce at an alarming rate.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
They do. Yeah. Lauren Kronitsky says, feral cats are my favorite. No, I like cats that are spayed and neutered and in the house, Lauren, sweetheart, honey. I mean, I'm not saying you should turn your back, but, if there are a lot of communities where they'll have people who will trap them, right? And then they will spay them, neuter them, and return them. But that still doesn't solve the problem of how many things they kill.
True. Birds for sure.
Tons of things. Birds, and depending on where you live, lizards, and, anything they can grab, rats and mice, fine, but lots of other things too. But as you mentioned, there's this story I was here talked about how adult females can have 4 litters a year with 6 kittens per litter. That's a lot of cats.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. And I understand both sides. You want to help an animal that needs it, but in the same sense, you're just kind of prolonging the whole reproducing and killing of birds. It's a tough thing.
It is a tough thing, and I do feel bad. But and the people do the same thing with pigeons, and you say, "Oh, it's not the same." Well, to some people, pigeons deserve to be fed. And
Right.
you feed one, and then you have 10, then you have 20, then you have 50, and pretty soon you have a mess. Same with the cats, the stray cats that are wandering loose in the neighborhood.
Yep.
So I just hate seeing animals, loose and not given the love and attention that they need. But unfortunately, there's so many pets out there that people don't want. That's just terrible. And I'll tell you something else about pets as a mother of 4 dogs. We see more and more people abandoning pets, it seems. And I'm not defending that for any second, not for a second. But I will tell you, it's gotten so expensive. Do you have any pets, Sue? Do you have dogs or anything?
Yeah, 2 bulldogs.
Bulldogs?
2 English bulldogs.
Oh, you don't? Okay. Are you married?
Yes.
I should know that, but okay. I was going to say you're married. Why would you have something else snorting at night?
They're the only ones who snore. So I am blessed.
I'm teasing you.
Sue's bulldogs are cute, though.
They are
cute. She always shows cute pictures of them.
They're super cute. They're cute dogs. And they're so sweet. Everyone I've ever seen has been very, very sweet.
Yes. What have you got?
Well, I've got 4. I've got a big poodle, giant poodle, 75-pound poodle, and I've got 3 rescue dogs. I've got a Maltipoo, a dachshund who's just about to check out. He's 16, maybe 17. I know. Let's not talk about it. And then I have a new one that somebody dumped in my neighborhood. They took 2 dogs, put them in a cat carrier, dumped them on my sidewalk.
Oh, come on.
I'm not making this up. And a neighbor found them and then let me know about it. And I said, I'll pick them up, dummy that I am. Well, I wound up keeping one. My neighbor took the other one.
Oh, that's good.
I'm not. Well, yeah, and we, it had a happy ending. But I will tell you, by the time you go and get the cat spayed and chipped and all the stuff like a responsible owner does, you're out hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And then her brother, my little newest stray brother, had a testicle that wasn't descended. So they have to obviously come down from their abdominal cavity.
Yeah.
So that cost them like $800 to get. My friends, and they're of means, so they could afford it. And I told them before they took the dog, because my vet had looked at it. My vet said, yeah, he's got an undescended testicle. It's going to be a bigger surgery, whoever does it. Okay, fine. So I told my friends, I said, you sure you want this dog? It's going to be more expensive, my vet. And they said, no problem. But, your average person, that's very expensive for most people.
It is. Yeah.
And then if your animal, like my dog's, I hate to even talk about it, but he's getting to that point. And so when you put them down, that's expensive, whether you decide to cremate or not cremate or whatever, all of that is hundreds and hundreds of dollars nowadays. And people are just, I'm not defending anything when people abandon pets, but it's just very expensive to own a pet.
Yeah, I get it. It is. It just is.
Yeah. And then when you go to the vet, I don't have a vet like this, but a lot of people do. Every time they take the dog to the vet, I want blood work, right? I want this, I want that. My dog broke his toenail. Oh, we need blood work. We need this. Upsell. Did you know that veterinary school costs more? My vet told me this. Costs more than medical school now.
Wait, does it really? I did not know that.
That's why the blood work, madam.
By the way, I've never said yes, let's get blood work. But yes.
No. I don't either. I don't need to get blood work, but I don't know what to say to people, because there are shelters that will do clear the cages, events, and they'll get rid of all the shelter dogs, which is great. Get them homes, hopefully. But at the end of the day, owning a pet, and I highly recommend it because I own many myself and rescue all kinds of things. But it's if you have as tough as this economy is, people are looking at whether they're going to feed their kids now.
Yeah.
Right? Or whether they're going to take on a pet. And if the pet gets sick, a lot of people are just of the opinion the pet gets sick, I'm just going to, get rid of them, which is terrible and awful. And you shouldn't do it. No, I'm not defending it at all. I'm not in any way defending it. If you can't take care of one, you shouldn't get one. But it's interesting too, because years ago I took one of my dogs. I had come home. One of my dogs was on Rimadyl, which is kind of a pain thing. She had some issues. And I had a bottle of Rimadyl, the chewable kind, on the kitchen counter, and I walked in the door and the bottle was on the floor empty.
Oh,
At the time, I had 5 dogs. And I said, oh no. So I knew who the likely suspects were, who were the most likely counter surfers of my group. And dogs don't go, hey, I grabbed a chicken. Who wants the leg? It doesn't work that way, right?
True.
Right? They grab the chicken, they go hide in the back of the backyard, and they eat the whole thing. So I knew whoever grabbed the pills ate the whole bottle. right? So I called my vet. My vet said, no, Rimadyl is death. You've got to take him in. It's like 10 o'clock now. Okay. So I took the two most likely suspects into the vet clinic, and they wanted $2,500 to treat both my dogs. Now, I knew only one of them ate the pills.
Oh my gosh. What'd you do?
Right. So what I did was one of the they had the dogs in the back in cages, and I went back to see them, and one of the dogs kind of stood up, and when she stood up, there was some blood, from her, and I went, okay, she stays, the other one's going home with me.
There you
and
go.
They said, oh no, we don't agree. I go, let me tell you what, dogs don't share the pills. Here, you want half of this one? It didn't work that way.
You're exactly
I said,
right.
Yeah, she ate the pills. The other one's going home with me. Let me tell you what happened. So, okay, I want to mention the money. So people were out in the waiting room with this all-night vet clinic crying their eyes out because they didn't have thousands of dollars to save their pets. And
That's so awful.
It is awful. But if you've got a choice between paying rent and for some people, they can't slap down a credit card or whatever. They're just stuck. And it was really hard to see that because it's not that they don't love their pet. They just don't really have that much, you know what I mean? In these late night clinics. So it gets better. So I took the one dog home because I lived like a mile from the clinic. And the next morning I called to see how my one who stayed was. And they said, oh, she's fine. They just basically run a lot of fluid through their kidneys is what they do to save them. That's what they have to have. So they said, she's fine. They said, well, how's Dusty? And I said, well, she's fine. They said, well, we don't agree. I said, you don't agree? She slept on my bed all night. What do you mean you don't agree? She's fine. I mean, I'm telling you, Sue.
They really pushed it from that?
Yes. They tried to get me to come back with her.
What did you say? I mean, after you said she slept with me, she was fine.
I said, no, I'm not bringing her back. I mean, but that really made me mad. Because what if I was a person who they were able to bully into and putting my dog through treatment that she didn't even need?
Oh, that's
the vets
awful.
know the dogs don't share this stuff. Vets know only one dog ate it. And you want me to put my other dog through treatment she doesn't need? Oh, I was livid.
Oh, that's terrible. That really is terrible. You got to find a new vet.
Well, this was the late night vet. My vet would never do that. But it just at the point where things are happening with animals and people can't afford them now, and it just seems to be snowballing.
Well, and they're trying to scare you into. Oh, that's horrible. What a terrible manner.
Oh, it was. And I used to work for a vet, and I was not having it. I was like, you know what? And I went and got my one and I took her to my vet for further treatment. He ran a couple more IVs through her just to make sure she was, okay. But how terrifying would it be if you were a pet owner and you take them in, you don't know anything about the situation. You walk in and they've got you shaking like a leaf. Your dog's going to die if you don't do this right
That's
now.
horrible. Ah.
Yeah, it was. There's some stuff out there, some shady operators out there trying to pay off their student loans, I guess. And then there are people like my vet, who's a great guy, who's not going to do anything your pet doesn't need.
Right.
And that's the difference. But those are the old school guys.
They are the old school guys. One time my mom had, she was a teacher and she had teachers visiting from Wales, right? And they were they were in the summer and this woman was staying in the lower level of mom's ranch. And they went out to dinner. They came back and my mother had a dachshund mix. He had one brown eye and one blue, probably a basset hound dachshund. And he had gotten into this woman's luggage and eaten her heart medicine.
Oh, no.
Now, but this dog was indestructible. I'm telling you. So he was lying up against the wall. He just kind of looked took him to the vet, and whatever they did, he was fine. But it was an old school vet who said, no problem. Here's what we'll do. Here's how much it is. And he was fine.
Right.
But that kind of stuff, you're right. If you didn't know or were scared, they could convince you of all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So real quick, I'm going to wrap this up. But about a month or so after that, my husband and I were RVing about, 70 miles outside of Vegas. And I had a bottle of pills and left him in my purse, and my hound dog got him. And I was like, I'm going to be divorced. I'm going to be divorced. And so what happened was we found this vet in this tiny town outside of Vegas, which is where we were, went over to her house. We sat in the camper and she ran IV bags to the dogs. It was like $170, not $1,500 per dog like the other place was charging, right?
How great was that for her that was really nice.
Yes, it was nice, and it saved my marriage. Could have been. It was dicey there for a minute too. I'm not going to lie, because a hound dog will find anything in your purse. That's what
Yes.
they get. Yep, that's what they get paid to. That's what those beagles make all that money at JFK, right? Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Much more to come on the Mark Reardon Show. I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Northbound 170 is a slow go at 70. We've got some volume. Northbound 270 ramping on to westbound 70. There was an accident reported near 141 causing that delay. 64 westbound, that's a slow go. It's Kings Highway out through McCausland. Eastbound is slow, mainly right there at Vandeventer as you head toward Compton and Grand. Southbound 55, slowing at Bates. And an accident southbound 270 south of Highway 21. That is causing a delay back through Gravois. So if you are traveling through there, that's what's happening. By the way, we have a little bit of volume. Well, every time I say there's something. But the accident southbound 270 near 21 is on the right-hand shoulder. It should get better through there. And some volume on the Illinois side, not on the bridges, but on southbound Route 3, headed for Monsanto Avenue. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they've been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out, from windows and siding to kitchens, baths, and outdoor spaces. They give you quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, it's Mark Cox. Join me July 28th at Old Hickory Golf Club for the Missouri Republican PAC's first annual golf tournament benefiting Senator Adam Schnelting. Teams and individual golfers are welcome. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. They can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align. Because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
God, remember when the Queen of Carpet and the Princess of Pile were flying around the arch selling flooring?
Andrea, that was the Queen of Carpet and the Princess of Tile.
Oh, that's right. But we don't need shtick here at Best Buy Flooring.
That's right, because our in-stock selection of carpet tile, sheet vinyl, laminate, hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, and luxury vinyl tile are already at low, low prices.
Come see us at our 3 area locations, North County, South County, and Metro East. Open 7 days a week.
Plus, free financing on approved credit. Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy Flooring.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from the Gelman team of eXp Realty. If you want immediate cash for your home or to see what your home is actually worth in today's market, find out for free from the local experts. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Speeding while driving gives you less time to react. Another car could turn out in front of you. A pedestrian could be walking their dog. Follow the speed limit to keep them safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Reardon's back. Smarter talk for the Show Me State. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon. You follow me on all the socials, Heidi Harris Show, Facebook, X, whatever, Instagram, all that good stuff. Frank Cusumano joins us. He's a sports director at KSDK. How are you, sir?
Good to be with you, Heidi. Thank you so much.
No excitement in your household this week, huh? How about this kid? I heard about him, Alex Cusumano. He's a pretty good golfer. I'm here. What's with that whole deal?
Well, they say that like great golf like skips a generation, so clearly that's probably what happened here. He had a really good day at the Grizzly Cup. It's been around for like 106 years. It was at Norwood Hills, and I've covered a lot of sporting events, but that was about the coolest thing I ever saw. It was crazy. I mean, he was on fire, and it was just beautiful to watch. My wife was with me, and we're very proud of him.
That is so
exciting.
awesome,
That's
Frank.
awesome.
Congrats.
It is awesome. Some days everything's just clicking on all the cylinders, right?
Yeah, it was just crazy. I don't know if you've ever seen that scene in Caddyshack where Chevy Chase is just knocking down all those putts and going, no.
No. Be the ball, Danny. No. Oh yeah. One of those kind of days, huh?
He played 13 holes. I think he had 9 birdies before the match was stopped.
Whoa.
It was crazy. So, but look, he's a knucklehead. He's not special. He's just a pretty good golfer. So,
well, congratulations to you and the whole family. How exciting, though. I mean, and I didn't realize that he had set a standard for the most years between titles at 14. That's pretty interesting because he stuck with it, and and that says something.
Yeah, a job and 2 kids and a wife kind of gets in the way of practice. So,
right.
But he stuck with it. And you know what he says? We bought him a driver for Christmas, and it's this new Callaway driver. And he goes, yeah, it goes further. It's more forgiving. And, golf is the one sport where technology truly matters. So I don't think you should skimp on clubs if you're thinking about buying some.
I can tell you this much based off of what we saw this weekend at the Open. I don't think that Scotty Scheffler's skimping out on the price of his clubs either. He continues to just impress the golf world, Frank. I mean, impressive stuff once again from him.
Yeah, he doesn't have like the dynamic quality of Tiger. He doesn't have Arnold Palmer's aura or Jack's stature, but I think that maybe like 10 years from now or 15 years from now, we're going to look back and we're going to call him one of the all-time greats. I mean, it's 4 majors and he's only 29. He could complete the career Grand Slam next year on his birthday at the U.S. Open. This is, enjoy this because we're not going to see many like him. He is really special.
And I guess the next big one coming up will be the Ryder Cup. Is that right?
Yes. And he'll be a part of that along with Bryson DeChambeau, who had a magnificent final 3 rounds. So I hate the fact that the majors are already over and it's mid-July. They used to do the PGA Championship in August, but this year we'll be blessed by having the Ryder Cup, which is so passionate where it's the United States against Europe.
Yeah, so go ahead and explain that. How exactly does that work? I know it's still a little bit of a ways away, but as someone that's relatively new to getting into golf, how exactly does that work?
Well, they pick the golfers with the highest point totals, and you get a certain amount of points for winning regular PGA Tour events, and you get a certain amount of events for winning majors and finishing high in majors. So a guy like Bryson DeChambeau, who doesn't play on the regular tour, plays on the Live Tour, he's done well in majors. So I think he's 3rd or 4th in points right now. And then, there'll be a captain that'll have a couple of captains' picks too. So it's really a great event. It's awesome to watch.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. Switching over here to some Cardinals baseball for a couple of minutes. A very, very forgettable weekend out in the desert, Frank.
Yeah, it was absolutely brutal. But I got to tell you, Ethan, in a way, it's a blessing in disguise because what this weekend gave us was clarity. Don't be under the guise of, hey, they can get hot. They could still win this thing. No, they can't. This is a team that's that's just 2 games over 500, and they're 4-11 in their last 15. And they're, the last month has been brutal. If you look at the analytics, the pitching and the OPS. And I think that this tells you this weekend, hey, the trade deadline is 10 days away. Don't think you're contending. You have assets that you can move and you can make this franchise better in the future. There's going to be a lot of teams that would want some of these Cardinal arms like Helsley, Matson, Maton. This is the way you got to look at it. And I think it was a blessing in disguise this weekend to be swept by Arizona.
And I think, even if you are to sell, I don't know if the Cardinals do it in a super extreme way. I think trading Ryan Helsley is probably the biggest thing that they would do, which would still be big, but it also allows for some of these young guys to get opportunities that you've been waiting for. We know that McGreevy's been knocking at the door, but the bullpen depth down in AAA has been pretty solid this year as well. So at worst, you're continuing to figure out what your roster for upcoming seasons is going to look like.
That's a wonderful point. And make Gordon Graceffo say, okay, when we trade Helsley, you're going to get first crack. You're going to be our ninth inning guy. And he's got gas. He's got a lot of bravado about him. He has the makeup to be a closer. Another thing I do is with Jordan Walker, if this thing is over, then just play him. You got 62 games left. Play him every day in right field and find out about it. There's no debate when you write out the lineup. Now, here's the dilemma. This is the one dilemma here, is Ali Marmol is probably going to be playing with a gun that doesn't have as many bullets after the trade deadline.
Yeah.
I don't think he should be judged by this. I think he's a good manager, and he's gotten the most out of his players. I don't want him to take the hit for the Cardinals trading many of their talented players, but you never know what could happen with the new, president of baseball operations about to take over in October.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. Heidi?
Yes, it will. Frank Cusumano, great talking to you, and congratulations once again to your entire family. And Alex, what a great championship it was for him.
Heidi, thank you so much. Great to be with you guys.
Thanks for being here. I'm Heidi Harrison for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Crews have been dealing with some issues.
I sound like a dork saying champ
on the roads, and one of those is southbound 270. There was an accident south of 21, and it's on the right side. Traffic slows back through 44. Southbound 55, slowing at Bates. An accident reported now westbound on 6440, kind of right before you get really close to Clayton Skinker. We'll call it that. So traffic, of course, is stacking up behind that. We've also got a little bit of volume. Now, westbound 70 is fine out of downtown, but there was an accident near 141 that caused a delay back through 270. Out west, 6440, some moderate volume between Highway N and the 70 split. And then things look fine. We still look good on the Illinois side. This report brought to you by Siding Express. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie Siding. At Siding Express, they specialize in James Hardie Siding installation. Visit sidingexpress.com today to schedule a free consultation. That's sidingexpress.com. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
The number one fear of adults in retirement remains, will I outlive my money? The team at Rickon Financial want to help calm those fears with a complimentary income plan. This includes a deep dive into your retirement strategy to see what's working and where adjustments can be made. Call today for an initial no-cost income plan. 314-207-6211. That's 314-207-6211 or online at rickonfinancial.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
Mark Cox doesn't fake it. He's lived it here in St. Louis. Pro-freedom, pro-family, pro-truth. If it matters to Missouri, it matters to Mark. Mark Cox, mornings on 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis conservative.
More coming up here in just a moment. Terry Jones joins us on the other side on 97.1 FM Talk.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Releasing records. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The Trump administration has released tens of thousands of declassified pages about Martin Luther King Jr.
The roughly 200,000 pages of records detail FBI surveillance of civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. before his assassination in 1968. President Trump has promised to release long-held government files on King, as well as the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert F. Kennedy. A 1977 court order kept the MLK records sealed, and King's two living children opposed their release, urging the files be viewed within their full historical context. Government records on JFK were released in March, and RFK files were released in April.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The Pentagon has ordered the 700 Marines deployed to Los Angeles last month to protect federal buildings during anti-immigration protests out of the city. The decision comes after half the National Guard troops were ordered to leave by the Pentagon last week, and after Mayor Karen Bass had called on them to leave. Harvard University challenging billions in funding cuts by the Trump administration as both sides appear in a Massachusetts court.
Inside a packed Boston courtroom, lawyers for Harvard University argued the Trump administration is forcing the school to comply with specific policy changes, including disciplining pro-Palestinian protesters. They say it violates their First Amendment rights and federal law. Harvard sued the Trump administration after it froze nearly $3 billion in federal funds. An attorney for the government argued the administration has every right to cancel the funding and says anti-Semitism and the alleged targeting of Jewish students is enough to justify the cuts. The administration also wanted the school to end certain diversity programs.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz in Washington. Wall Street stocks have a mixed finish as investors look to a week of profit updates. The Dow lost 90 and the Nasdaq gained 78. America's listening to Fox News.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
We're warm and humid for any evening plans. Today, the coolest of the week by far. 80s this evening, 77 for the overnight low. Tuesday, partly sunny, hot and humid. A couple of spot storms in the afternoon. 97 for the high. Warm and humid Tuesday night, 77. Wednesday and Thursday could be the hottest of the week. Partly sunny, hot and humid, 99 each day. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon. How you doing? Hope you're having a good afternoon. Giving Mark Reardon a well-deserved day off. The Democrats are in a quandary, as you may know. And even James Carville is talking about how bad the situation is for Democrats. I mean, he just seems flat out disgusted with the entire thing. And now there's been a poll talking about how there's more bad news for Democrats. Voters are now calling them, most voters, too radical. And hear from Issues and Insights. He's the editor. Terry Jones has a great story out about that today. How are you, sir? Nice to have you on here on the Mark Rubin Show.
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, Heidi.
Okay, it surprises me. Well, it doesn't surprise me that the Democrats are doing so poorly because people just don't really know what they stand for anymore. The question was asked, do you think the Democrat Party has become too radical in its views and policies? 45% of all poll respondents said yes. That is huge.
Yeah, we were surprised at the size of it. We weren't surprised that there would be a significant number, but 45% is enormous. And when you add into that the fact that 22% of Democrats say that's 1 out of 5 of their voters, just over 1 out of 5 of their voters say the same thing. That's a real danger spot for the Democrats because it suggests that they're very much out of touch with all voters, but even their own voters.
Well, that's what it comes down to. James Carville had an op-ed you may have seen today in the New York Times, and he was talking about how he says constipated, leaderless, confused, a cracked out clown car, divided. He said, these are words I hear from my fellow Democrats to describe our party. This is what they're dealing with. And they got 2026 looming, and they have no plan.
Yeah, they have no plan, and really they don't have any leader. We asked a third question of the people who responded to our poll about who do you consider to be the current leader of the Democrats, and it was pretty much solid across the board. It was Harris, it was Schumer, it was former President Barack Obama, but they were all low percentage points. I mean, there's nobody who jumps out as somebody saying, "Oh my gosh, they're a real leader." In fact, the number one vote getter was not sure, 37%.
Wow.
Everybody, the exception of Kamala Harris, was in single digits, and that tells you that they are a ship without a rudder right now.
Well, that's it. And then you've got Gavin Newsom running around the country. He was in South Carolina, as you know, about a week or so ago. And who was he trying to impress in the Bible Belt? That show does not play in South Carolina. And all the Republicans have to do is show videos of what's happening in California. All the houses burned down. All the homeless people lined on the beaches who were there before the houses burned down, by the way. And say, do you want your state to look like this? I mean, this is such a gimme shot.
Yeah, it is, and I would add to that, in California, he can get away with posing as a centrist, which he has tried to do in the last 6 months, but it's not going to work in other states because they've been watching this from afar and seeing what a disaster California is. We now have the highest poverty rate in the nation. I mean, it's just. It's really incredible, and he comes in at about 5%. I can't see him leapfrogging over anybody really on the list. But who do they have who's a potential presidential person? I see no one there. I mean, I really don't, and I think they should be deeply worried about that as a party.
Well, they should be. And when you look, I looked at a picture the other day. Somebody posted a picture in California. I think it was looking down on Malibu, Palisades and all those houses. Not only are the houses not rebuilt, and who knows if they're ever going to be, according to a lot of people think they're going to grab the land and make affordable housing from it. But not only are they not rebuilt, they can't even clear the land. They can't even clear the fire. I have friends who had a fire in their garage a couple of months back. They had to clear, the people came out and did it, an insurance company, cleared all the stuff out of the garage so it's not blowing around, so it's not smelling because it smells horrible. And they can't even do that in California. I mean, imagine that on the national level.
Yeah, it's really bad, and our government here is totally dysfunctional and seized by its own ideology, which is far left. And they're incapable of doing things that you would consider routine in any normal state, and they're incapable of doing it. Everybody was talking about when the fire happened earlier this year, that things were going to be different. They were going to, there were going to be expedited permits and things of that. So far there have just been a handful handed out, and there are literally thousands of people sitting on land that they can't do anything with right now other than clean up, and they have no way to go forward. And so a lot of them are just going to end up selling their land probably back to the state or to investors and moving out of the state. And we're going to lose some of our wealthiest and most talented people once again to other states because the state of California failed them.
And that is terrible. We're speaking with Terry Jones, editor of Issues and Insights. I'm Heidi Harrison from Mark Reardon. And that's what they're wanting. They want these people to just sell their land back to the state because the state makes it so miserable to try to rebuild. And many of these people had owned this land, Altadena, other areas in California, had owned this land for decades. Their parents had owned these houses. And they can't possibly rebuild. I mean, the houses were older and cute, but, not the mansions. A lot of people think it's all mansions. It was not. And even if it were all mansions, the fact is you own the land, you should be able to rebuild on it. And it's horrifying that government would do that and just drag their feet to the point where you give up your land. Terrible.
Yeah. And they really don't have any recourse. I mean, there's no place they can go to say, I would like a second opinion or I would like this overturned. There is no, court of ultimate resort for them. So it's a serious problem out here. And I think, once people realize that is the direction that the national party of the Democratic Party is going, they're going to say no to that. And it appears that they're already doing that. I mean, the Democrats showed they had spectacular weakness in the heartland of the country among, formerly Democratic voters, people who were blue collar workers and people who were not living in any of the wealthy coastal enclaves, New York and San Francisco and LA and Seattle. Those people in the middle of the country have had enough of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're tired of it. We're speaking with Terry Jones. He's the editor of Issues and Insights. It's interesting too. The Democrats, we don't even know what they stand for. They used to go along with what you were saying. They used to be thought of as the party for the working class and things like that, right? Well, you've got people in Nevada, my home state, senators voting against the no taxes on tips. Now, how's the no taxes on tips going to work? I don't really know. Okay, I'm not dumb enough to think it's going to be a panacea, but they voted against it. And they claimed when you've got a huge amount of people working in the tip earning industry, who do the Democrats represent? Do they represent nothing but death, killing babies, killing old people with assisted euthanasia? They don't want police anywhere. They don't want any kind of law enforcement. That's really how people perceive them now, I think.
Yeah, and the reputation is following all Democrats. I think there are still a handful of more or less centrist Democrats in the party who are going to be tainted by this whole thing, and it's not help. It doesn't help that when you have people in Congress, Democrats who are saying positive things about backing Hamas, who are are seeking to keep people who are here illegally from being deported, even criminals. Backing ambush attacks on ICE and all this other stuff. And, I don't know, you go down the line from issue to issue, and it just seems like the party has just spun out of control and cut the dock ropes between it and reality, and it's floating off.
That's very true. I mean, let's go back to when Ralph Northam, the governor of Virginia, as you know the story, was on a radio show being interviewed. And he talked about once a child's born, then we would make a decision about whether it lived. I mean, I'm not, the story, because it was in the context of abortion. And I'm thinking, I don't care who you are or where you sit on the abortion issue. This is a separate human being with civil rights. And now you're talking about the child. And that was horrific enough. Not one Democrat came out to denounce him, not one. And that spoke volumes about the party.
Yeah, once you're born, I guess They don't realize that you have constitutional rights, and one of those is life and liberty and not death. And it seemed when I read that, I thought there must be something I'm not understanding here, because this couldn't be. But yes, it was.
Yep, I watched it. I watched the video of it, and I mean, for him to say that, and that's sick enough. But to have no Democrats, none of them, not in leadership, not in a small council of people, nobody denounced him because they're all terrified to do it. The ones who were against it, maybe most of them weren't. But the idea that nobody denounced that, said no, that's not what we stand for. We don't stand for killing children after they're born. That's not okay with us. They never did that, and that told people a lot.
Yeah. Yes, and I think there are a lot of people, including Democrats. I know several who are not, pro-abortion rights, all the way up to birth, and I think they've been shocked by this. It's like, there has to be lines drawn, and it's increasingly obvious that the Democrats don't have any lines right now. It's right. They're racing to the far left, and they're getting there pretty quickly. It's going to be difficult for them too, because they're having trouble raising money, and that's a serious problem that they're going to have going forward.
Yeah, well, then you've got the guy, Chat GPT creator Sam Altman, coming out, and this was a big donor to the Democrats, billionaire. He's saying he's politically homeless. That's the kind of stuff that kills them. They're depending on the high-tech guys and the entertainers, all these people to come out and give them money. And if those people bow out, they're really in big trouble.
Yeah, they will be. And they're already in trouble. I just saw the latest amount of cash on hand the Democrats had was just over $12.5 million, I guess it was. And the Republicans have $88.5
million.
Wow. A huge gap there right now, and the money has dried up for the Democrats, both from all the billionaires who used to give them money and are turned off by things like their anti-Semitism and things of that sort. But also there's some question of whether the NGO money that used to flow to the Democrats has been choked off now, thanks to Doge and those efforts. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, these are happy days for the Republicans, and let's hope we can maintain this momentum. That's the important thing. Terry Jones, editor, Issues and Insights. Thanks for joining the Mark Reardon Show. Appreciate it.
You're quite welcome, Heidi. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Looks like we've got an accident westbound 370 past Newtown Boulevard, and that's actually creating a delay. It's just kind of weird to see a jam on 370. Usually it's wide open. But I'll tell you what, westbound 70 out of downtown looks not bad. Pretty good all the way out west. Southbound 170 is slowing just south of Olive to an accident just north of 6440, and that is really a delay through there. It's worse than 270. Now, on 270, there was an accident northbound just south of 70 causing delays. Southbound, we just have kind of moderate volume headed down past 21 where there was an earlier accident. And if you're headed into Illinois, now's the time. We look great on the bridges downtown. But westbound 64, a little bit slow out at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. But again, not the end of the world. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic at 97.1 FM Talk.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, August 5th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Tammy with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired? Do you have your personalized income plan in place? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than owning the market, and how in 39 years we have never lost a penny of our clients' money?
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your market gains every year without having to sell? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, at the Frontenac Hilton, Tuesday, August 5th at 6:30. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
He's not here to play nice. He's here to make you think. Mark Reardon on 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon. How you doing? Good afternoon. Mark's taking a well-deserved day off. Got Ethan here, my friend, my former producer, and we did our own thing, but that's okay. I'm happy to share now, apparently, with everybody. Annie, Mark, everybody. I don't know how this whole thing happened, but okay. Just got completely out of control, didn't it, bud?
I guess so.
All right. Did you see this the other night? They had the All-Star, WNBA All-Star game. We talked about that a little bit earlier, the whole topic of the WNBA, how they're losing all this money and nobody cares. And can we just all be honest about it? It's not that people like Caitlin Clark because she's white. People like Caitlin Clark because she's a great player and she keeps her nose clean. And she's not out there trying to make a statement about everything. All right, that's why people like her. They're tired of everyone having a grievance. It just gets old. Anyway. I mean, remember when nobody watched golf for years because Tiger wasn't there? When Tiger wasn't playing, and I'm a casual golf viewer, Tiger wasn't there. You don't need me to tell you that. Nothing to do with race. It's, are you interested? It's Simone Biles. How many people cheered Simone Biles at the Olympics? Loved her until she had this big dust up with Riley Gaines recently, and that whole thing. But people loved her. They don't care what color you are. You're an exciting athlete. They're all excited about you. It's great to watch you. Everybody, you get all kinds of eyeballs on you. Everybody knows that. It's not a race issue. People trying to get that anyway. So the ESPN host made a comment that I thought was kind of funny. Sue, did you hear this one?
Sue will be back in just a moment.
Oh, she'll be back in a second. Okay, let me know. Because so they were having the halftime during the All-Star game. Okay. And one of the host there was talking about how it was saying, well, I hope it gets a little more competitive and this and that. Okay, fine. This is Elle Duncan is the host. Okay. Hope it gets a little more competitive. And then she said, because like a girl's trip to Cancun right now, there's no D. Okay.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I did unfortunately hear that.
Come on. That's funny. Why is everybody so up in arms about it?
One of the ESPN hosts said that during the WNBA All-Star game.
Oh, I see.
I'm just wondering
a girl's trip to Cancun. There's no D. It's funny.
I wonder how
it's kind of funny. Come on.
It is, but I just wonder how
funny.
it would be taken if it was the other way around and a guy made.
Oh, here we go.
Like
go
that.
ahead. Give me an example, Ethan.
I don't even know what the example would
boy?
be. And here's the thing. I don't want to make an example because I'm afraid I would get in trouble for saying it.
Yeah, but you're not that guy. You're not the guy. You're not snarky like Sue and I are. So you're not the guy to have a snarky No, and I mean that in the best possible way. That's just not your deal. But if somebody's already joking, I mean, it's a joke.
I didn't think
It
twice.
is a joke.
I didn't think twice about it when I heard it. I agree. It's not something to be up in arms about, but I can tell you this much: as a male in the business, obviously nowhere near that level, I would be really nervous to make a comment like that because
That's
of the potential
understandable.
repercussions.
Uh-huh. I mean, on one hand, people will suddenly know who you are.
That is true.
On the other hand,
That is true.
do you want to be known for that? I don't know.
Immediately hire a crisis management expert.
Right.
No, I think, and it's once again, like Ethan said, it's not a man saying this. It's a woman saying, because like a girl's trip to Cancun right now,
Right.
there's no D. Now, a woman would know. I've never been on a girl's trip to Cancun, but a woman apparently, for a woman to say that, it's funny because they've had the experience. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, and people are up in arms about this. You know what? This is what's killed a lot of broadcasting. With you can see
right.
these people are always getting in trouble. Right? They say anything that's the least bit edgy, and I'm so sorry.
Yep.
I met a guy a while back who he's kind of a fat guy. He'll tell you that he's a fat guy. He said, "I'm a comedian. I'm a fat guy. I can't make fat jokes." That's what he said.
Yeah, that'd be really annoying.
What is it with people that you can't be funny? I mean, edgy is what people remember.
True.
And if it's not, listen, if you're not naturally edgy or snarky or sarcastic, then don't try to force it because you just sound like an idiot. But if you're somebody to come off the cuff with some funny one-liner like that, I don't know why anybody has to get upset about it.
I have to agree.
Yeah, nowadays, I mean, you say one wrong thing and they get you off the air, I guess. Well, I mean, that's always been the case for talk show hosts, but I don't, these guys try to walk a tightrope, especially the guys. The guys seem to get more trouble than the girls do. Just stupid now. How about Colbert getting off the air? Anybody care? Anybody raising hands? Nobody?
No one in studio here.
Nope.
That's for sure.
Who knew he was even still on? I didn't even know he was still on the air. Did you?
I only knew he was still on because you would see some interesting quotes, usually trashing Donald Trump on social medias on the occasion. But it got to the point you just roll your eyes hearing that stuff, and there's such an agenda to it. So honestly, to me, it feels almost like a good riddance. I don't know about you, Sue. I just got tired of all the agenda. It's like, be funny, and it just wasn't funny anymore.
I haven't watched late night TV. I mean, my schedule doesn't allow it, but
Sure.
In ages, I just don't think it's really a thing anymore. And the fact that there were 200 people working on that show, and it was running at a deficit of $40 million or something. Well, of course it's gone.
Yeah, that's what I don't care what his politics are. He's entitled to say whatever he wants to.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm entitled to turn the TV off. I haven't watched it late night TV since Jay Leno left. I mean, honestly, and Jay Leno was never nasty. Johnny Carson was never nasty. And they took jabs at both sides, and it was not mean-spirited. And nowadays it's just turned into an agenda, which once again, you're entitled to have, but I really don't need you beating that in my head. And what happened to entertainment? I mean, entertainment seems to be lacking.
Yep.
When you see entertainment shows like the Oscars or the Grammys or what Tonys, and all people are doing is making political comments. Wait a minute, these are professional entertainers. They're there to award somebody something, and they cannot get up and be funny and lighthearted or do anything without a script.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, those are the award shows are the most boring things. You go on YouTube and you can look back to the ones like in the 70s where everybody dressed in a nice gown and nobody was talking politics, and they dressed like ladies and gentlemen. And, I saw one where Fred Astaire did a whole dance routine. It was so cute and just very, very different. There was just an aura about it. And now it's just, let's get up and bash Trump.
You know what? That's really true. It was more entertaining. And now it's just, you're right. It's all political. And people want a break from that. And I don't understand how they don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, you're entitled to have an agenda, but if you just get to where you're just like nails on a chalkboard, you're going to be out the door. That's what's going to happen. So I don't care. And then a lot of people are whining. And by the way, here's another thing we never get in radio. He's getting a year's notice. Anybody gotten that? Raise your hand. In radio?
No. Crickets.
In sports?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Anybody?
Mm-mm.
Bueller? Anybody? Nobody? Okay. Just checking. I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Vehicle fire reported northbound 141 past Springdale. Watch for that in the right lane. Accident westbound 370. This one past Newtown, and it's been blocking the two right lanes. And an accident northbound 270 approaching 70. That, too, is blocking the right lanes. And we've got a jam behind it that goes back near Page. Southbound 170. There was an accident north of 64, pretty close to Brentwood, and heavy traffic that goes back through Delmar. It goes a little bit beyond that, but the heaviest is through Delmar. And an accident reported now westbound 6440 near Clayton Skinker. That has caused a delay as well. If you are headed into Illinois, we look good on the bridges downtown. In fact, traffic looks great through there. Really no problems. This report brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Martins came over, we were having spaghetti when we suddenly noticed that we started getting sweaty. So we grabbed the keys and we ate it in the van. That's what my friend said, call Jerry Kelly, man, JerryKelly.com. Give him a call even though it's late, JerryKelly.com.
St. Louis Public Library is here to help the community recover. Every Monday in July, join SLPL at DeVol Library, 4234 North Grand Boulevard from 4 to 6 p.m. For community rebuilding events, these outside events offer free resources and supplies to St. Louis neighbors, including food distribution, diapers and period products, legal aid, crisis counseling, and more. For more information, visit slpl.org.
Guys, it's time to take charge of your health with my friends at Victory Men's Health. Mark Cox here. I already love what they do at Victory. They do hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, even vitamin deficiencies. Now they're offering specialty cardiovascular testing and even early detection cancer screening. Visit them at one of their 4 great locations, now in Sunset Hills, Town and Country, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to victorymenshealth.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor and Pella Window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
5:31 is the time. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
Bold takes, real talk, no apologies. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon. How you doing? Glad you're with me. Oh, here's a shocker. Looks like somebody's going to need another butt whipping. Brett Baer interviewed Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas I'm going to screw this up, I'm sure. Aragshi. And he said Iran will not give up nuclear enrichment. Well, there's a shocker. He's confirmed that today. An exclusive interview with Fox News' Brett Baer. He said that the U.S.'s top ambition in preventing Tehran from further developing a nuclear weapon and by blocking all enrichment capabilities is unlikely to come to fruition. Okay. He said, we cannot give up enrichment because it's an achievement of our own scientists. Oh, really? You mean the ones who are still alive? You know, Israel has a way of picking those people off. They've assassinated so many of those guys. He said, and now more than that, it's a question of national pride. Our enrichment is so dear to us. Okay. The full interview, I guess, is going to air here in the next couple of days. He said, our facilities have been damaged, seriously damaged. What? Your facilities have been damaged? That's not what CNN was saying last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. They weren't. Well, you know, yeah, they sent in the bombers, but they didn't really do a lot of damage. Brother. He said, the extent of which is now under evaluation by our Atomic Energy Organization. Once again, this is what Iran is saying. As far as I know, he said they're seriously damaged. Now, who knows if he's telling the truth? I assume they are because I have faith in our military to do it correctly and the intelligence that tells them where the stuff is. So I'm going with the Trump side of this. I did an interview with a retired Air Force general, and you can find this if you go to the Odyssey app and you look for podcasts. You look Heidi Harris Show podcast, and I interviewed him about what went on over there, Operation Midnight Hammer and whatnot. What was amazing was he was actually there when they were testing the bunker busters, and he was telling me a story about being out at what's called the Nellis Test and Training Range. It's in Vegas, near Vegas. It's huge amount of land that they do a lot of this testing. And they put a the reason they designed the bunker busters is for exactly what they used it for, not necessarily Iran, but whoever. They knew they needed this, and they came up with one. It took them years, but they came up with one. So when they were testing the bunker busters, he said they put a traffic cone on top of a mountain, whatever the flat mountain was they were going to test, a traffic cone. They dropped this bunker buster, this heavy, huge bunker buster. He said it split the traffic cone in half. That's how precise they are. And, wasn't it great to see Trump use our military for what it's intended to be, which is defending freedom and occasionally giving an ass whooping to somebody who needs it. I mean, these people needed it. They needed to get their butts kicked, and they did. And it was good to see, because what would be nice to see is obviously a change in leadership over in Iran so the people can have freedom again. You see old pictures of people like in the 70s, women walking around with normal clothes on. Then all of a sudden these mullahs come in. It's horrible. It's hard to imagine losing our freedom like that, but it happens all over the world. So Iran gets their butts kicked, and they're weakened. How much, we don't know. We have no way to know. But they're not going to give up their intent to, first of all, death to America, death to Israel. That's what they want. So that's the thing. You could try to do the whack-a-mole game and kill them here, kill them there, pick off, assassinate this one, pick off that one, this, that, and the other, blow things up. You can, but the problem is you still have the ideology. You have the ideology of people who are just not going to change. I'm not talking about every person in Iran. I'm talking about the government. I saw a video today. Luckily, they didn't show the whole thing, but there was a video of a woman who married the wrong guy, and they killed her. And the guy she married. I mean, this is the kind of so-called honor killings still go on. I don't know if this is Iran. It might have been Pakistan. No, I'm not sure if it was Iran. One of the two. I'm not looking at it right now. But the kind of thinking that people have when they come to America. There was a story about a guy a while back who tried to kill his daughter right in front of the school. She was a teenager, wouldn't get on a plane to go back to the Middle East and marry somebody who wanted her to marry, tried to kill her. I mean, that's the problem. You can move somebody to America, hopefully legally, they come in here, but their attitude's not changing. The ideology hasn't changed. Same with Iran. Their ideology is not going to change. So all we can do is try to stay ahead of them and their capability of trying to cause death to America and death to Israel. That's all they can do. That's all we can do. You're not going to eliminate evil. You can try to keep it on the run, which is what we're doing. With this idea, they refuse to give up their stuff. Kind of reminds me, back in the day, there used to be a T-shirt that was very popular, and it had an eagle swooping in to a mouse, and the mouse was flipping the eagle off, and it said, "The last act of defiance." And so when I think of Iran, they're going to stand there like the mouse flipping us off as we come in with the bunker busters or whatever else we need to do. Iran's maintained it's not seeking a nuclear weapon. Sure. We'll see. We don't know. But what we do know is they want to kill Israel. They want to get death to Israel, death to America. That's what they want. So it's sad because you're not going to eliminate that, but we do keep an eye on him. And thank God for Trump that he was willing to use the weapons that we have and have developed in this country for that purpose. Obviously, you don't want to use every weapon developed for that purpose. You want to not use any weapons if you can avoid it, just because you don't want things to escalate. But in this particular case, I think it sent a message to the world that A, we have these bombs, you don't, bring it, China. We'll see you there, kind of thing, because there's a lot of talk of China and America going at it in 2027. I was at an event a while back at a luncheon, and there was a member of the military speaking about that, like it was on the calendar. 2027. I went, "Oh, excuse me, sir." It wasn't a classified briefing. And I said, I've heard this before, but where, what are you basing this on? He was explaining what they're basing it on, the different things. China's capabilities by then, the weather, I mean, all kinds of things. They're pretty much putting 2027 on their calendar. Now, I'm hoping that by using the bunker busters in Iraq, I keep saying Iraq, Iran, we have sent a message, don't mess with us. That's the whole point of having a great military deterrence. And once in a while, you got to kick some butt. This is it. You have to. Because bad guys, they don't respond to negotiations. They don't. They only respond to brute strength. That's the same with the bully on the schoolyard. The bully on the schoolyard, if you give him your lunchbox, does anyone carry a lunchbox anymore? If you give them your lunch, they perceive you as weak, so then they demand your jacket or your iPad or whatever. That's how bullies think. The only thing that backs a bully off is brute force. They don't change. I remember years ago, my father was undergoing can't well, he's going to talk to he didn't wind up doing the treatment. I don't blame him. It wouldn't help. But he went to meet with an oncologist because he was diagnosed with cancer. And the doctor was from Iran. And this was about the time the anthrax attacks were happening. And I said to him, so doctor, me, I'll talk to anybody. I said, what do you think about the anthrax attacks? And he looked at me and he said, you Americans are weak. He said, I know these people. I know how they think. He said, you need to round up everybody and question them. And he went on and on and on. And this guy's Persian, came from Iran. He said, I moved here in 1980, when the Olympics were coming, and they, basically, I'm paraphrasing, basically gave him the third degree. And he said, that's what you need to do. He said, I know how they think and you don't. And that was so important to hear from a guy from Iran. Now, is that every Iranian person? Nobody's saying they all want to do us harm. We're talking about the ones who want to do us harm. That we just want to be, everybody's nice. Everyone comes to America because they want a better chance at life, and nobody's trying to harm us. And we still don't have a clue how many people have come into this country who want to hurt us. I'm not talking about the people who want to come in and get a free ride. Want to have kids, have them in our schools, get on welfare. We're not talking about that. How many people are coming into the country who are actively here because they're sleeper cells? We don't know. I mean, they've already found a terrorist training ground, found one a few years ago in New Mexico. We know that's here. That element is here. How many are here? There are people reporting that tons and tons of adult Chinese men how are Chinese men getting here? How are they leaving China? How is that allowed? Right? And we hear these stories. I know people who have ranches on the border between Mexico and Arizona, and they find all kinds of things out there that aren't from Latinos coming across. I'm not worried about the person running the taco cart. I'm not saying they should be here illegally, but that's not the person I'm worried about. Where are these sleeper cells? We don't know. When will they be activated? We don't know. But we know that Iran still wants to get us. Can you imagine if Joe Biden were president? He wasn't really president. We know he wasn't president, much less president the last few years. Can you imagine if Kamala Harris were president now? My gosh, what would have happened? Nothing, because Israel, it just, we've got to pick the side. They got to pick the right side. And there are people who just want to kill everybody, and they're not going to change. So we just have to stay on top of them. That's all we can do. So it'll be interesting to see that interview that Brett Baer does when he rolls out the entire interview. But that's their attitude. They're defiant. They're basically like that little mouse in the T-shirt I remember seeing years ago with the eagle. The mouse is like, yeah, you're going to get me, but I'm going to give you the finger before you do it. Yeah. Interesting times we live in, right? Yeah, that's true. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Crews have been working with this accident on westbound 370, and it's before you get to Truman, and they've had the left lanes blocked, and we really have a jam behind that. Now, there's no problem on westbound 70 in that area, so if you want to do that instead, it's the best alternate. Now, northbound 270, there was an accident kind of as you approach. In fact, they were in the lanes that take you to 70, the exit lanes. Well, they've moved that off, and now there's just one vehicle on the right shoulder, so things should thin out through there. They also cleared the accident westbound 6440, and that one was really close to Clayton Skanker. Some moderate volume back through Hampton. Southbound 170, still a slow go at 64. Southbound 270 now looks fine as you head on down toward 55. And 55 looks good. If you're headed into Illinois, we look great on the bridges downtown. This report brought to you by the Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. This summer, while you stay cool, our first responders stay on the front lines. The St. Louis First Responder Canteen is there to keep them hydrated and supported. Find out how you can help by visiting 971talk.com/talkinaction.
When it comes to replacing your windows and doors, don't settle for ordinary. Choose extraordinary with Renewal by Andersen, the full-service window and door replacement division of Andersen, a name trusted for over 120 years. Our exclusive Fibrex material combines the strength and durability of wood with the low-maintenance features of vinyl, giving you windows and doors that are twice as strong as vinyl, energy efficient, and built to last. For a limited time, get 25% off every window, patio door, or entry door with no payments for 18 months and zero interest. It's our best new client discount. Ready to transform your home? Dial pound 250 and say the keyword windows to schedule your no-cost design consultation or visit rbastl.com. That's pound 250, keyword windows, or go to rbastl.com. Renewal by Andersen, superior products, exceptional service.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Speeding while driving gives you less time to react. Another car could turn out in front of you. A pedestrian could be walking their dog. Follow the speed limit to keep them safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Bold conversations, no apologies. The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon. Good evening. It's always fun hanging out with you and hanging out with some of my very favorite people on radio, including Ethan, Sue, Fred. Always a great time here on 97.1 FM Talk. You can follow me on all the socials, Heidi Harris Show, Heidi Harris Show, Heidi Harris Show. You can follow Mark Reardon, that's more important, Mark Reardon, KFTK, on X. It's time for the cut of the day. We got some good ones. Actually, maybe just more than one today, but we'll have some fun with this.
Stand by. Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
Let's go to clip number 6, Ethan.
We haven't heard anything from them. They haven't called me and said, like, don't get too comfortable in that office, Stuart. You know, but let me tell you something. I've been kicked out of shittier establishments than that.
That's what I always say. I've been kicked out of better joints. Yeah, that's Jon Stewart worried about his show. You know, once again, I don't pick on any of these guys. All right, they're talented. They do their thing. I just don't listen. I don't watch any network television, and definitely not anything late night. So I didn't even know these guys were still on. And I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I don't know who does watch them. Obviously, somebody does. But these shows cost a lot of money to produce. They've got a lot of people running the shows, which, you know, and so. And they're getting, at least in the case of Colbert, he's getting a year's notice. Are you kidding me? We in radio don't have any sympathy for that at all. We get 5 minutes. You're off the air. You're done. That's how it goes for us. We don't want to hear anything about it. Let's go with clip 15. This is WNBA, Nafessa Collier.
The players obviously are taking this really seriously. We had the most participation in league history. I think we had close to 40 players in our league meeting. I think it just sends a really strong message that we're standing really firm on certain areas that we feel really strongly that we need to improve on. And I think we got that message across.
Well, obviously the WNBA, listen, we want people paid, but the market's going to decide how much you get paid. And if the league lost 40 million, I guess it's they expected to lose 50 million, lost 40 million last year. I'm not sure how anybody gets a pay raise when it comes to that. I don't know how that works. And I get it. It's not just about a pay raise. It's about the collective bargaining agreement. They want a bigger percentage like the NBA. I get it. I get that part of it. Okay. If the NBA gets a certain percentage, then you should get that in the WNBA. That seems fair to me. But the huge money that some of these NBA players make, no, because you don't have the eyeballs on the set. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you ever watch it, Sue, ever?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I tried. I tried watching a couple games, like Amazon Prime or whatever it was now. It's the thing. You can't keep track of where any of them are because they're on all these different things. And, 5 minutes, I'm out. And they're great players. They're great athletes. God bless them. I couldn't do it. I respect that. But I don't watch NBA either. I think a lot of people, a lot of folks just aren't interested in the agenda or them beating up on Caitlin Clark. And everybody knows it's mostly jealousy. They can't stand it that she comes in with all these people liking her, but she's kept her nose clean and kept her mouth shut. How about that? Because here's the thing. When you're a student athlete, especially when you're at the college level, even high school level, you ought to get some good guidance very early on to keep your mouth shut and keep your nose clean, because you got to think long game. You have to think, what am I going to do after I'm not playing baseball or soccer or basketball, right? Will I get the endorsements while I'm there? And will I be able to make money going forward? Because most athletes have very short careers. Everybody knows that. But instead, some of these people start mouthing off. And the next thing you know, nobody wants to draft them, not mentioning anybody in the NFL. People don't want to draft them because they're obnoxious, or because they have some kind of history, or because it's an agenda. Someone's concerned about an agenda. You're going to come into the locker room, you're going to cause problems, whatever your agenda might be. And when you've got a player like Caitlin Clark, who's not only, has no agenda, but she's a great player. But there are other great players in the WNBA. Everybody knows that. But she's a great player, but no agenda. No whining and complaining about money all the time in a league that doesn't, is basically a welfare league from the standpoint of the NBA having to prop them up. That's what they should call it, the welfare league, instead of, I don't know if anybody else has said that, but yeah, I am. Ethan, can we go with clip 8? This is Kristi Noem and Tom Homan talking about that ICE agent who was attacked.
Officer was off duty on Saturday evening when him and his friend were attacked. They were attacked by two individuals that were set on robbing them. One of the suspected attackers, the one that was injured, his name is Miguel Francisco Mora Nunez, a Dominican national that was entering into this country illegally back in 2023. There's absolutely zero reason that someone who is scum of the earth like this should be running loose on the streets of New York City.
I buried Border Patrol agents. I buried ICE agents. Luckily, thank God, we're not burying one today. Enough.
So that's the whole thing. These people who promote lawlessness. You can't have police coming in here. You can't have the National Guard coming in here. Well, what are you going to have? In some cases, not all cases, you need the National Guard. But these are people who promote lawlessness. They don't want America to be a law-abiding country. They want people to just be able to victimize others. And a lot of the folks who promote this, obviously, live behind, big walls, gated communities, have security, and they don't have to deal with it. But the people who are victimized the most when bad folks are running loose are the people in the lower income neighborhoods. Can't afford to buy a gun. Guns aren't cheap. And they're the ones who tend to be victimized the most. They may not have a lot of stuff that other people want to steal. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But they're victimized by the people in their community. You're always victimized by people in your community, almost without exception. Whenever anything happens to you, you get burglarized, you get attacked, you get, something, you get murdered. It's somebody you know most all the time, something like whatever, generally in your community. And so we got these people who are, living, in glass houses behind big walls, telling other people they can't have guns and putting out laws that do nothing but hurt the poor people who can't afford the things that will protect them. And they continue to be victimized. And these people don't care. And then they wonder why the Democrats seem to be out of step with America. Well, have you talked to any? I don't know about y'all, but I talk to people all the time with whom I don't agree. You have to talk to people and understand how they think. Or listen. How about just shutting your mouth and listening to somebody who doesn't agree with you? And you may not, at the end of the conversation, you may not go to their side, but at least you can understand where they come from. But everybody's screaming at each other on X and everything else, and nobody wants to really take the time to listen to why a person believes what they believe. Their position in life, their perspective in life is different than yours because of how their experience growing up. Okay, and you still may not come to the same conclusions they do, but you can at least understand why they believe what they believe. But you try to talk to. It's like when people will say, "Oh, well, I think everybody should, pay their fair share taxes." And I said, "Okay, give me a number or a percentage or a number." I've never had one person ever, anyone who's ever said, if there was a fair share of taxes, no one has ever been able to give me that number, either a number or a percentage. Just give me which one of the two that you think is fair for people to be taxed. Tell me what it is. They can't. They just can't. And it's sad because you want to stand there and scream and yell and holler about everything, but you don't understand basic principles of economics or anything else. You just want to scream and yell. You don't know why you're screaming and yelling. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay, gang, it's been fun sitting in for Mark today as he takes a well-deserved day off. You can follow me on all the socials, Heidi Harris Show. Thank you, Ethan. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Sue, for hanging out with me today. Tons of fun, always with you
Been
guys.
a lot of fun. Yeah, appreciate you filling in here for Mark.
Heidi.
Yeah, too much fun. Okay, guys, I will see you down the line, I'm sure, very soon. Thanks for being here.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we still have some volume out there, and it's mainly 370 as you approach Truman. It's an accident that's been blocking those left lanes, but that's about it. 70 looks great out of downtown. Really no delays on 6440. 44 is in good shape. And if you're headed into Illinois, now is the time. We look fine on the bridges downtown. This report brought to you by Siding Express. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie Siding. At Siding Express, they specialize in James Hardie siding installation. Visit sidingexpress.com today to schedule a free consultation. That's sidingexpress.com. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Have you been notified that your subsidy for Obamacare health insurance is going away? Well, you can leave now while you are still healthy and can qualify for much better individual plans. Greg Hammonds at greghammonds.com has been helping people get affordable health insurance with great coverage for over 35 years. Greg offers private health insurance plans that are not on the ACA marketplace. You can pick your doctors. For most claims, you won't even pay a deductible, and they're 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. One more thing, there's no tax penalty at the end of the year. Greg even has plans that are guaranteed acceptance. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan by you, not the government.
Ozzie Smith ready for the flip, and we're ready to start the season. Here we go.